Howdy, 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 and thank you all for joining us tonight. Tonight we have a little bit of a different kind of live stream. Um, let's see. I just got back, went down and visited with my mother for the weekend. The wife and I went down, had a great time, but I'll be honest with you, I'm absolutely whooped for making that drive back. But tonight I'd already planned on it being a little bit different anyway. I've got two ladies that are going to be joining me in just a moment here, and they're going to be discussing what's been going on and what has been happening with the LAPD and the current situations out there. They have firsthand knowledge on things. Both of them have been dealing directly with the LAPD, and I'm not going to go too far into it because I'm going to let them to tell you what's going on. But so let's go ahead and bring on in our good friends. First off, you all know her as Fat Grammy, Mona from up in central Michigan there. Howdy.
Hello.
How are we doing tonight, darling?
Oh, enjoying another lovely day. Actually, did you see I got to get out yesterday? My son
No.
put me in my wheelchair and I did a live outside and it was
Wow.
quite nice.
That's good. That's good. None like that sunshine. I tell you what, we got back and it was almost 90 degrees here. It's actually hotter here than it was down visiting with my mother 4 hours south of us.
Mm.
But we got back, it was cooking. We had I absolutely hate using the air conditioning. If I don't have to, I won't do it. And I got home and the wife's like, "You should." I'm like, "Turn it on. We just can't deal with this. It's too hot." Um, just a few hours later, about 2.5 hours later, I heard some rumbling off in the distance. I went and opened the windows. We had a beautiful little storm roll through, and it dropped temperatures about 15 degrees for us. So we turned everything off. Nice and comfortable now. Did you get any of that storm up there?
Not at all.
Oh, it was a good one. It was one of those ones that didn't have high wind or anything, just nice rumbles going off in the distance. No big lightning strikes or anything. Nice, good amount of rain, and man, it cooled everything down. So, but I'm glad you got out there. Did you get out to see your horses?
Oh, honestly, and I'll wait for you to get Becky on, but I don't have a horse.
Oh, you
The
don't?
the horse is a friend of mine and she's down near Williamston.
Oh, okay.
And she was
Yeah.
trying to show me how friendly horses are.
Yeah.
Horses are big, scary things to me.
Oh, yeah.
And my daughter rides, but it wasn't my horse. I have
Well,
two
you
big horses as it is, two big
well,
dogs.
with having had anti-venom from snake bites, I for a long time I couldn't be around horses because they extract proteins from horse plasma to make the antivenoms,
Oh,
and
didn't know that.
I could actually go into anaphylactic shock. So I have to stay away from them. But we have someone waiting in the background there, and you all know she is the most quiet person you've ever seen. No, we love her to death. I wouldn't have her any other way. She has just been, the both of you have just been absolute angels and inspirations to everybody in the SPTV community. You both are putting in the fight. You're showing on two different levels how that you can actually make a difference with things. So let's bring in our good friend, Miss Pinche Becky.
Hi guys,
Hola.
there you
Hey,
go.
Becky! No!
Becky sent me a text earlier saying something about limiting her because geez, she talks too much. But
No,
I
no,
love it.
no.
I absolutely love it. So I wouldn't have it any other way.
I said today is the day for me to learn from Mona. So I told them I'm gonna just put tip in my mouth so that I
Okay,
can
close your
hear
ears.
more.
Oh, close your ears. Oh, shit. I thought I was supposed to be learning from you.
Oh, we had
Hey,
fun yesterday. I'm gonna tell you that much. LAPD. I made L. Ron Hubbard Street into Pinche Becky's way the other day. Sure did.
Yes,
Sure
yes.
did.
It, and I want to hear all about that because I watched you yesterday and I was just a dancing livid queen. So I wanted to hear your take on that.
So if you can't tell folks what's going to happen tonight, I'm going to jump in every little bit, but I'm going to let them run the show tonight. I'm going to
I'm
let
gonna
them
eat a
tell you about
cookie.
what's going on. And you got cookies you didn't offer.
Really?
You see that?
3 left.
Mm.
There you
So
go.
Oh, those
are
are
those
my
tag
favorite
along?
too.
Okay, I see how it is. Yeah, the Girl Scout cookie season's over here, so all
Oh
right.
no, I bought plenty. And I put them in the fridge and I told my husband, these are yours. I'm purposely got the ones he don't like.
Uh, all right. So we know what has been going on with you, Becky. You've had nothing but disappointment, letdown, and
Mm.
failure on the part of the LAPD. And after hearing your story, the first thing I was like is, hey, can I get Becky in touch with Mona? Because Mona's is going to be speaking with the OIG right there in LAPD and start moving forward with a lot of the problems that LAPD has. I brought Mona on, I showed the document, and then I spoke about that document several times in other lives and showing folks ways that you can actually report to the agencies, the government bodies, and things like that. And I just wanted to know how things have been going with that. And instead of, coming on and reporting about it myself, I wanted the hear it directly from the both of you. So, Mona, if you could start us off and tell us how that ball started rolling, and then both of you just back and forth it however you want.
Sure. Well, it had originally started because of the help sign in the window when everybody was out protesting over at the blue building, over at the big blue building. And it just really ticked me off so much that the LAPD would go in there on a call and then completely ignore the fact that somebody was asking for help. And then continually watching, and then Becky's situation even just floored me even more. I just get so frustrated that I decided that filing a complaint about the LAPD to the Office of Inspector General was the next step to go. And on some levels, I'm seeing some improvements, but on other levels, especially like yesterday when they were guarding for the event, those types of situations have just really have gone downhill, if not gotten, it's just ridiculous. But the swatting calls and the constant false calls has drastically reduced. That we have seen a reduction. But the attitude of them when they're playing mall cop, armed mall cop. Sharpen that knife. Get it, Pinche. Get
You
it.
know what? Actually, let me tell you what this is. A friend of mine gave me a table and she had cut off the legs on them a long time ago. But this is what it was. This was the bottom of the table and it's really hard wood. So it was in her family for years and she gave it to me. So I decided to make a letter opener out of it. So it's
Oh,
actually a letter opener that I'm just fighting
look at
away
you
as you speak.
woodworking. Well,
Nice.
uh, so how did it go on from that point then?
So from that point, we had our meeting, and it was a very successful meeting. As I said, I really feel we've done something in the way of LAPD itself, but I think there's just so much coming from on high. There's got to be something coming from somewhere that, I mean, it's like, and I'm going to let Becky talk about yesterday,
Oh
but
boy.
it's hogwash. It was BS hogwash, definitely so. And I just I keep saying they're ratcheting up the heat. They're turning it up on the protesters and on the LAPD and Scientology. F Sciento is ratcheting up that heat. They keep cranking it up, cranking it up. And if we don't stay on top of it, they're going to have us in some hot water if we don't.
Well,
So,
why do you think they're cranking up the heat? Let me tell you, yesterday, well, first they wanted to kick me I was already leaving, first of all. I was already leaving the day before yesterday, Friday. And I just had gone around the corner and I was showing, they're gonna have a Salvadorian festival. The consul will be there. And when I found out that the consul was on site, I went out to her and I started recording and I said, I told her what Scientology was doing, children trafficking. And she asked me to please not record her because she's a Salvadorian government official, the embassy, blah, blah, blah. So I turned off my camera and I actually gave it to Dan and I just said, okay, you know what, Dan, you're in charge of it. Dan walks LA. And I took her off camera and she was really frightened. I mean, the girl was shaking. And so I told Dan, you know what, just cut everything off. And as a courtesy to her, I said, look, I'm going to put it private. I won't put it on the internet. She said, why don't you guys come as my guests tomorrow, meaning Saturday? And I said, because LAPD will kick us out and Scientology will make a move. And no, you're coming as my guest. So as I'm leaving, first of all, Danny and Leah were there. And as I'm leaving, they say, I went over to the Sunset side of Ronald Harbor Way. No, it's called Pinche Becky Way. I went to the other
you're right.
side and the security guard, Scientology security guard came out and he said, hey, what are you doing here? And I said, excuse me? He said, you're on my street. And that's when I flipped the camera on him. And now I am a horrible camera woman. But I caught him on there saying it and he walked away and that just fucking pissed me off. So
Right
I
on.
went around because Danny was waiting by my stuff, by my chair, and I went around and I said, you know what? I'm gonna go over there. You watch and see. I will take a fucking arrest on this one, but that's gonna be my street. So we went back in there. The consul had already left. She had put her number in my phone, but her deputy was there. And Leah, Danny's girlfriend, has it on there where she's saying you guys were already invited by the consul directly. This is not a Scientology event. They kept insisting that it wasn't, but as we're now leaving, as we're talking to her and about getting ready to leave again, we see LAPD at the end of Pinchas Becky Way towards Fountain.
Mhm.
And so I strolled over there and I was all like, la, 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 may I help you, officer? And he was actually decent. He was actually decent. And then I don't know if you guys know that officer, LAPD officer that looks like he has Botox and his eyebrows are all done perfectly well. He looks
Right,
like a
yeah.
freaking robot. I don't know why that man, I don't know his name and I really don't care. But that man gives me the EBGBs. He reminds me of like iRobot kind of I don't know. The man gives me the EBGBs.
Okay.
And so we're there now, and they keep telling us that Scientology presented them with a permit, something about it being their event, their venue. How the hell is it your venue if it's a public street?
Because they had 2 permits pulled yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so I said, we got invited. La la. Now what? And I continued to push it, and actually the sergeant says, very nice. nicely. He says it's going to be as nicely as you can. He was I'll just leave it at that. As nicely as you can probably hear a sergeant from that division be nice. So I walked out screaming at the top of my lungs. It's fucking pinche Becky way. And I kept saying it. And I was hot, but I walked out of there and I made sure they were aware that I wasn't going to go anywhere. And the next day, well, that right there and then, Danny says, if they're going to be here at 6 a.m., then maybe we should come be part of the community and help them set up. I was all like, oh, rats. What time, Danny? I have to work actually. And he's all like, oh, Becky, I thought you would come. I wasn't going to go yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, fine, So I get home and now it's 2 a.m. and I tell my husband, babe, they want me to go here. And I had already agreed, mind you. And I tell my husband, but I told them that I had to come and ask for your permission first. He just looked at me like, yeah, right, girl. He says, go ahead. I'll handle the business. So he went and did what he had to do. And I didn't go to bed. I was not going to go to bed for 2 hours.
You were really tired. You were looking really tired. Yeah.
I was exhausted. My back was killing me. My leg was on fire, but I had promised Danny and Leah that I would be there, and they came by to pick me up, and I couldn't back up. So I just made some of DOA's crack coffee, as I call it. It's cafe canela, and it's cinnamon coffee with we call it piloncillo. People call it panocha, and they think panocha is a bad thing, but it's really just raw sugar, raw cane sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So I just made a big old thing of that, and I took it out, and I got some snacks ready for us, and they came by 5:30, and we left back. I didn't go to sleep. I just hopped in the shower to kind of wake up, and we went out there, and the security guard, Scientology security guard, and I don't care what his name is, they all look the same to me, kept following us and following us. And when we were talking to the organizer of the event, he went over there and told them that we were troublemakers. And so I tell him, you know what? This is an event for our community, my community. My son is half Salvadorian, and although I don't like his dad, that's a whole different story. But when you're Latino, it doesn't matter. Hey, little fly, go by. It doesn't matter if you are,
right.
Salvadorian, Hondureñan. It doesn't matter, Mexican.
Right.
We all fall in the same pot at the end of the day. We're all Latinos. So we decided to go out there and kind of help set up, put up chairs, whatever they needed us for. And he just made it impossible. So I finally told him, look, I'm here for my community. Let's get a truce going. You know what?
They watch you. They watch Poe. They watch the growing up in Scientology. They knew exactly what you were saying, and they heard everything. All of us heard you say, no, we're not going to put the film on them unless the camera on them, and because we're going to respect our community. We're not going to protest because we're going to respect the community, where we're going to respect the El Salvadorians that invited us here. You, Danny, and Leah all decided that there was no reason to give you trespass. None whatsoever.
But
you were being so respectful. But they kind of
I
screwed
asked
that up.
everybody now, mind you, I gotta say, I'm there for my community, and I'm still gonna warn them about the big blue building back there. And although I wasn't anti-Scientology, but no, some of them had a comment to make about that, and all of them said it's not their event. And so I just said, yeah, they don't like us out here because we help our community, and they don't. That's pretty much what I said. But
Yeah, you were very respectful. Very respectful.
well, if it was in a Scientology event, if it was for like they said, bringing a little piece of El Salvador to the people that can't make it home,
Mhm.
I was going to just showcase their food, their traditions, and I think we did a pretty damn good job at that. The
Those
pupusa lady,
filled pancakes. Oh my goodness.
okay, so those are called pupusas. They're made with the same masa as the
Mm,
tortillas. So
okay.
in essence, it's pretty much kind of like well, you saw they fill it with cheese, chicharron. You know, chicharron. I'm sure pork skin, but their chicharron is a little meatier, and black beans and what have you. And I showed all of that, and
Yeah.
I mean, we showed her phone number, we showed her how she was making it, and then one of the beauty contestants from El Salvador, a state that I've never heard of, I'm not even gonna lie, she appeared. And then there was another gentleman that came from close to Washington, and we talked harm reduction with him. The
Mhm.
cheesecake guy, he's Salvadorian, and he fell on hard times and didn't have a choice but to, I guess, make money, making a cheesecake. And let me tell you, that cheesecake was fucking fabulous. And
It looked really good.
the pupusa lady would not allow us to pay for it. The
Mm.
cheesecake guy didn't allow us to pay for it. Um, the pollo campero, which is, I think they're from Guatemala originally, kind of like a pollo loco, Guatemalan style. They were gonna need the chairs that we sat on, and they went and they brought us chairs, and they're like, "No, please." And I said, "Oh my God, I'm in your chair," because they would not let us sit. If we sat right away, they tried to trespass us. So we stayed within the community because we knew we were gonna be protected if we stayed within the community. That
Right.
security and we even shook on it. It just goes to show you they have no word. The only thing of value a man has is their word. You lose your word, you lose your value, per my
You're
dad.
right. You're right.
And the Salvadorian consul, they took her aside. When Danny and I left, we went because Danny had to go buy a piñata for his family party. We left and they started pulling out a table with Scientology shit on there, but they couldn't recruit. They just put it out there. And so I guess Leah and Ashley are now there, and they're just kind of like la 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 la. Because they were on Danny's live, the chat was going crazy. I said, leave it. Let them put out their material.
Yeah.
Let them put
Right.
out their material.
Because you kept your word for your agreement. That's right.
And you can see it on Danny's live. I mean, I think I yelled a little too much at the chat because they were going wild. And they were and I'm like, stop.
Right.
Today is not the day to go out there full blown fuck Scientology because again, they had already put the fear in them that we were going to cause a disruption. And they ended up trespassing them. When
Mhm.
I got back in there, I went out there and I put on a cute little dress. I sure did. Put on my makeup, let down on my hair, and I said, "Oh fuck yeah, we're gonna represent today." Because there was going to be a very famous Salvadorian singer. I forgot his name, Alvaro Torres, and he was gonna go out there and sing. And I thought it was a joke because I approached this guy in a suit sitting in the chairs that they had out there, and I said, "So who's coming, Alvaro Torres?" And I only know of him because of my son's father when we were dating. And he's all like, actually, yeah, he's coming after one. And I went, ah, shit, we're going to get kicked out of here before. And
Yeah.
the Salvadorian uh, winner of the beauty pageant or whatever the fuck, Mrs.
The one that had
Salvadorian,
the
El
crown on.
Salvador.
Right. She had the tiara on. Yeah.
she was also coming in, and somebody else, some bigwigs were coming in. Now, let me tell you, by this time, we had hit almost every booth, and we got a very warm welcome. I asked everybody before I put them on camera if it was okay, and all of them were like, yes, because we were
Right.
showcasing their business. And now I entered through Fountain Way, and I go on reverse, or I enter to Fountain, and part of the embassy's look, I guess you can say, they had this fireballs that represented fireballs from back in 1917 when a volcano erupted. And the funniest shit was that they had anonymous masks. They had anonymous masks on. They're throwing these balls, and I can't make this shit up.
Kind of
You
a
guys
back
know Anonymous.
insult. Yeah.
Anonymous supports us. They protest Scientology. The Anonymous is out there with us,
Yeah.
and they have these
That's funny.
anonymous masks, and they're throwing what represents a fire from the volcano. And I just lost my shit. I was laughing so hard because I was all like, "Oh dang, Sinu." So by then, I see that same security guard that told me the day before that it was his street. I went up to him, and I couldn't go live fast enough. And so I just recorded, and I'll be putting those up. And yes, I want her trespass. And I said, well, you mad, bro? You mad because yesterday I made this into Pinches Becky way? Is that why you mad, bro?
That's right.
I dress up well. You should have seen her when I met with her at LAPD Northeast Division. Oh, Sir Cryptus. Yes. That's why I tell you guys, don't put me in just one box, because one day I'm out in the encampments, another day I can be Beverly Hill bougie, another day I can be full blown Mexican, and today I decided that I was going to be in my she shed trying to get back into my art. So I don't fit just one box.
It's a good
I
thing
mean,
too. None of us do.
I think I have more tools than my husband. This is only the tools that I use the most, but I have more tools
So,
than my husband.
okay, so let me direct a question at you, Pinche Becky. If
Hmm.
you could wave a magic wand and make LAPD behave, how do you think that would happen? What one thing would you have to do to make them behave?
Get rid of all the Sir Crepitus. Oh my goodness. Look at
Get rid
him.
of Sir
Gifted
Crepus.
10 memberships. There you go. He's always supporting. It one wand, it would have to be a real huge freaking big wand. And it would be getting
Well,
rid of all the corrupt off. Where's my wand? I do have a wand,
do
believe
you?
it
You
or
have a
not.
bibbly bobbly boo?
I sure do. It's my Harry Potter one. Where is it? It's somewhere in here. But yeah, it would mean getting rid of all the corrupt officers. I still believe there are good officers that really want to do the right thing, and because of fear of just fear of their superiors, them having to follow orders. I feel that that's the reason why this corruption continues. I think it's the brass. I think it's the higher ups. I know it's the higher ups that cause all this chaos. So get rid of the corrupt officers with one big wand, and you probably you probably end up with what, 75% of the LAPD. And if they brought it down to 50%, and we didn't have as many cops out there, because now everywhere we go, you see LAPD just sitting around not doing nothing. So get rid of the
Well,
corrupt cops.
right. And through attrition, maybe you're going to get, probably 25% of them gone just because they're getting old anyways, old and decrepit. But
Yes, but
what I
now,
think would change, what I think would change the whole platform and the whole scenario is if they got rid of hiring the police officers as armed security.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think
That
that would
that
completely change it.
you heard the officer yesterday. Did you hear him? Or maybe it's
Where
on
he's,
now. I haven't put the clip on. When they cornered the Salvadorian, they took her away from me because I told her, "Are you really gonna let down your community?" I told her, "You invited me, and now you're going." She says, "Well, they're saying that you came in, that I said this," and I said, "Didn't I tell you that's what they were gonna do?" And she says, "It's not a science." I said, "I know it's not a Scientology event. I've been talking to everyone and we've been showcased, and you're really going to do this?" And they whisked her aside and they cornered her. I think I did post a picture of that on my
I did
channel.
see that. Yes, I did
And
see that.
they had her corner. I don't know if somebody can bring it up. I don't know if you can bring it up, John.
I'm looking right
Well,
now.
the thing is that they did that and then they so-called dead agented you. They kept telling her they're bad people. They're going to hurt you. They're going to blow us all up. Somebody's going to do something. They're angry. You have to make sure to let them out. And then they doubled down by having an event or event permit for their movie last night. And so if that didn't work, they were going to trespass you on their permit. That's
Hmm.
exactly what they were doing.
Hmm. And let me tell you about that helicopter that kept going around us. So we were at Starbucks. And I noticed again a lot of suits. I'm sorry, but my community does not go out in suits like that unless they are higher ups, unless they want to be showcased, unless something is up. And we were at Starbucks, and there was this lady and this guy in a blue suit. And first, he was kind of a little on the aggressive side. And I told him, "Look, we're just here to be part of the community." And then we went to Starbucks to go get that to go caddy for some of the vendors. Some of the vendors didn't have any coffee. Even the coffee guy that was there to sell coffee didn't have any coffee.
I know, and it
So,
smelled so good. I could smell it from here.
oh my God.
Mm.
And we went to Starbucks, and as we're waiting for this, somebody comes out of the bathroom. And I don't know if it's caught on my life. I haven't had a chance to review it. But he comes out of the bathroom and he says that loud enough for me to hear. And the lady, the suit lady, as I'll call her, because I don't even know her name, "You guys better go. There's a guy with a gun in there." And I went, "What?" So I even said it. Supposedly there's a guy with a gun in there, but he doesn't seem, it didn't seem right. When
Yeah.
somebody sees a gun, do you really think they're going to go up to just one person and go, "Psst, there's a guy with a gun in there"? I mean, we were very far away from the bathroom and he took off running. And I said, something doesn't seem right. Well, wouldn't you know it? They claimed that there was a guy with a gun and the helicopters kept surrounding us as we go back. And so I tell the pupusa lady, "You see, I told you this was going to happen." And she's like, "No." And then the lady that was selling all the breads, she said, "But why? Why?" I said, "Because we're warning them about all the child abuse in there."
Right.
And
That's right.
what did they do?
That's exactly why they are turning up the heat on the protesters around the world, not just in LA. LA just happens to be the big spot for it. So how do we turn that heat up on them?
We
How,
start going out to our communities. The Central American community just south of there was this lady the night before, Friday night. I went and I took a big old thing of lemongrass tea. I grow lemongrass and I made lemongrass tea. And this lady, older lady, maybe in her late 60s, early 70s, She was walking by, in her little, we call it a carriola, a little cart. And it looked like she went from doing laundry, shopping, whatever. And so I offered her tea. And at first she said, no, thank you. And I said, oh, it's lemongrass tea. And she came back for it. So I wasn't filming then. She comes back for it. And I made to-go cups for everybody if they were, to make, just regular to-go cups. And I asked her as she's there sipping on the tea, talking to me, I said, what do you think of this building? Isn't it kind of scary? I didn't say anything else. And she said, oh, no, we don't go into that building. I said, really? Why not? She says, I don't know what happens in there. I haven't heard a lot of it. All we know is that once you go in, you won't come out. And it might be on Mindy's or Aja's stream.
Okay.
And I said, really? She says, yeah. And if you come out, they go after you. They make your life impossible, and they might even kill you.
Well, truth be told.
I went, wow. The whole community knows about it. A lot of the people that went to the event, none of them were local. None of them were local. All of them came from somewhere else. None of them were from around the blue, because not even none of them. Nope.
Tomorrow night is the neighborhood council meeting for the Big Blue.
Oh, where?
And it is, I was just going to send you the link, Poe.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me see it here. I was going to earlier and I forgot. It's the East Hollywood NC neighborhood council meeting, and I'm forwarding it to you. There's the link.
I don't even see anybody on chat. Is it because I can't see chat?
I know chat's going and there are people in there. So
you may have it on private chat instead of comments.
There we go.
So this is the meeting for the Big Blue area tomorrow night, the council meeting. There will be public comment, and I invite everybody to call in or stream. I think Audit LA is going to be there. Streets may be there, but Audit LA definitely is going to be there.
I don't know what I did. There you go. Hold on. Okay, wonderful.
So even the last time there was a neighborhood council meeting, it was about the one over there where Jessica was hit or pushed. That center, one? I don't know which one that is. I don't remember what the name of it is, what road it's on.
And I've put the link for the Zoom meeting in there, but here is the you can call in with phone number also for it.
Yep.
Link that right down in there as well.
Where is it located? I don't see the address.
Pull it right back up. It is going to be at the Hollywood Hotel, 1160 North of Vermont Avenue.
Hold on.
In Los Angeles there.
Starting at 7 p.m. And so, anyways, there happened to be probably, I think, 10 people on the council. When I was watching the council meeting that night, there's probably about 15 people in the audience doing public comment, talking about different grants that they were getting and everything. And on the streams between Audit LA, Streets, Jessica, and then I found out Confident Chris was there too, so I added his in. There was 31,000 people watching.
Oh, wow.
That's huge for a neighborhood council meeting. Come on, that's got to have some input. And I'm hoping tomorrow night it's going to be the same. Just swarm them.
I wonder if I can go over there and ask and have them explain why they're holding, why they're giving them permits and not somebody else. Is L. Ron Hubbard a private street?
I want to know this, what I personally want to know. I know we're kind of getting off topic, so sorry.
Mhm.
But L. Ron Hubbard Way, there are no parking meters, there's no parking on it. And I found there's a 336-page document showing how it became L. Ron Hubbard Way. I found it and I saw it. And actually they had all the neighbors and all the people wrote in, all the people from Scientology wrote in. There was only 9 letters against it. But the thing was is that there was only 3 people on the council that permitted it, and 2 of them voted not here, and the one person voted yes. Come on. So that's how the LRH name came about. That's how it
So
was
what do
voted
we need
in.
to do to petition to pinche Becky Way?
Well, I
Same.
just pulled something up that I think you might find interesting. I'm gonna put it up here on the screen.
But I want to know why, how they got away with nobody being able to park on it. Do they pay what would be the meter amount every year? Yeah, I have the whole document on that, Poe, if you want it.
Oh, baby girl, I think I'm gonna start a petition.
Well,
And
this is
just to keep it nice, I will just settle for Becky's Way. That sounds even better.
well, this is from 2015, and this was in the LA Times, and it's about how they got the street renamed to L. Ron Hubbard Way. And it was in 1996, Los Angeles Council agreed to rename a portion of the street next to Scientology headquarters in honor of Hubbard. And then it goes on, it says, how did the renaming happen? The Scientology had requested it, then the city council president backed the move. The support far outweighed opposition on the block where the Church of Scientology has had its international headquarters for decades. And it goes on, it says, was there a debate? And the council voted 8-3 in favor of it. And council member Ruth Galanter stated, I believe L. Ron Hubbard was a manipulative and dishonest man. He's a cult leader. We don't name streets after cult leaders. And
right.
it was
so in the
Ruth
very
Galanter was
last
very
vote,
opposed. Yeah, Ruth
the very
Galanter was
last
very
vote
opposed to
was
Scientology.
they were, and so the other thing that happened on that was, so I said there was only 3 people that voted on the final vote. 2 of them voted not here, and 1 voted yes. So that's how they got that pushed through. But the other thing was, it was, the engineering Department of Engineering had recommended it not be passed. It gave a no vote, and they did it anyways. So you know money got transferred over that one. So
Oh, I have to go in here and look at some of these comments because I can't see my comments on the screen. And there, you see, first of all, I'm trying to get Pinche Becky for president 2024 because that's what the sergeant told me at LAPD, that we should run for president and vice president. That's what he told Samuel. So, and then Friday, I decided to make it into Pinche Becky Way. So now I'm going to have 2 fucking petitions out there. Becky 2024 and Becky's Way.
I think this is a good
It's
name
gonna be
also,
Becky's
Lost
Way.
Children Street. DJ Nico, aka Nikolai, says I would petition it to Lost Children's Street.
How about Found Children's Street? It brings such sadness when I hear Serge and Laura talk. That's what got me out there. Tony told a story about naming of one of her videos. Tori, yeah.
yeah.
Serge Delmar joined us yesterday once he started seeing that we were trespassed, and once he saw LAPD. Let me tell you, please post the petition online. You know what? Oh, baby.
Michael was in there, and he went to almost every single booth. It wasn't a private event when Michael was spending his money in there, was it? It was a public event until they figured
Well,
it
I
out, and then
didn't
they
even
kicked
have to
them out.
spend money because the vendors gave it to us. How you like that one? And I took my
Yeah.
sweet time strolling out of there, making sure that every fucking vendor saw what LAPD did. I was not being loud. I was all like, well, you have to remember, I'm an old lady, so you have to wait for me. Well, come on, keep on walking. Wait, but why? And I fucking strolled my way out of there. Fuck you, LAPD. They convinced the consul to retract her invitation.
Wow.
Therefore, I retract my promise of keeping that video private, and it's now
That's right.
on there. It's on my YouTube, where you hear me telling her about the children's abuse. And
So
yet you decided for them instead, and you went against your community. Fuck you, lady. Fuck you.
yeah. So I say let's all bombard the meeting tomorrow night. And LAPD will be talking tomorrow night because it is a community meeting. LAPD will be talking about their funds and their money in each of their districts for the council. So
Do you know how
let's
much
bombard them
money?
tomorrow night.
Do you know how much money LAPD just got in addition to the regular budget?
Yes, I do.
You know, Karen Bass, and I'll say this again, fuck you, Karen Bass. He went into the encampments and allowed LAPD to remove the encampments, Narcans, test strips, everything that was harm reduction. After I went to that meeting where I thought you were going to be at, by the way, Mona, I thought it was the most hilarious thing. I went in there and I'm all like, is Mona in here? And everybody's, who's Mona? I'm all like, Pat Granny. And they're looking at me like, oh shit, this lady lost her mind. And then LAPD officer, once I got off from that meeting, and once I showed my video, and once I'm calling yes, let them know. Let them know. Let them know that they not only were in their event, they prevented the community from joining them. They censored
Yes,
us.
they did.
After she promised that we were going to be her guests, she treated us like pretty much like shit. She treated us like we were the plague. So you want to fuck with your community, ma'am? Because now I'm going to find out every event you go to, and I will be very nice. And if it's close enough, oh, fuck yeah. I'm planning on going over there to her. I'm planning on going over there to the El Salvador Council and
Okay, I
putting
gotta
a
tell a
big old
secret.
sign about
I gotta
Scientology.
tell a secret on you, Pinche Becky. So the lady's leaving, the El Salvador queen with the tiara on. She's leaving, and I hear Pinche Becky yell, "That crown would look better on me, bitch!" I laughed my butt off. I heard you say it. I heard you say it. You can't take that back. It was truthful.
And then Asha
Truthful.
asked her for it. Asha asked her for it. Oh
That was
yeah,
funny.
that's how I lost my voice. I was so angry at that point. I was so mad. And having Surge come out, you know what? Let me tell you guys. If you're gonna go out and protest, and I don't care what you're protesting, first of all, you have a right to your voice. One. Second, if you're gonna go out and protest, just know full blown that there might be nobody there to protect you if LAPD comes over, if somebody instigates. If you're gonna go, if you're gonna go out there, just expect the worst. That you're gonna get
Right?
arrested, that you're gonna be harassed, that there's nobody gonna be around you, because that's, even with Leah and Ashley, and they were getting trespassed, we were a little on the far side. But I'm gonna tell you this. Yesterday, when they start, oh, there you go, cuenta contigo. Cuenta with who?
The
It says,
interesting thing is
count
that
on you.
this is the Facebook
Yeah,
page
that's
for the
exactly. It says
consulate of El
cuenta
Salvador in Los
contigo.
Angeles.
That says, cuenta contigo, count on you. You're right. I can only count on myself because nobody is going to come to my rescue. Now, mind you, yesterday, when we started getting officers around us, when we started getting escorted, Aja came out. Um, oh my God, we got so many people out there. And then Serge and Michael came out. You know, that's the best scenario, that someone will come out and assist you and back you up. But if you're out there protesting, if you get that little bug of thinking, you know what, let me go out and protest whatever it may be, just please be fully aware that you might end up in handcuffs. Be fully aware that somebody might not be able to help you. And once you're fully aware of that and you know the responsibility that you're going to have to yourself, because you need to stay within the laws. You know, you kind of have to tiptoe around them and stay within the laws in order for you to be kept out of handcuffs. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen, especially with the LAPD and their damn corruption. But if you go out there, and it's something that I really have to say, because I know that I've always been a protester. I've gone through marches ever since I can remember. So it's just in my DNA. Someone better hand Becky a tiara. That's right. Bitches, where's my tiara?
Well, you know,
on
on that same line you're talking about, tomorrow night, I'm actually going to be doing a live about the reality of fair gaming. I've had a few people, and especially a friend of mine, and I'm not saying any names, they want to stay on the down low, who have been really concerned about the fact of being part of the SPTV community and how it might actually affect their employment status. And so I want to put it out there, and I want to talk about it, have a very open discussion with everyone who's going to be watching about the realities of fair gaming and what you may have to be facing if you're going to decide you're going to be part of this community. You have to decide how important it is to you and how far you're willing to go, and realize that, you know, if you look back through history at the things that they've done and the people that they've gone after, the kind of actions they've taken against them, where they've actually tried to get people fired or have gotten people fired from their jobs
or arrested and put in jail. Look at the Black Panthers.
Yeah, yeah. So now,
okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, now back to the original topic though. When all this started happening and you saw everything that was going on, then you saw Becky's story and it broke your heart seeing how she was being treated. Sir Crepitus and I did a live stream. We had Becky on and we were talking about it. And on the live stream, I said, we got to get these two together. So what happened from that point?
I went on Becky's channel and talked with her and posted comments on there. And then we talked about her going to the commission meeting on Tuesday morning. And as I said the other day, I failed to tell her that I was not in LA, that I was in Michigan and would not be flying there. Yeah, and so that was a little bit of a miscommunication, because I just assumed.
But no, let me tell you something. I'm glad you didn't tell me you weren't going to be there, because when I woke up that morning, I was like, oh gosh, I forgot I have 2 appointments that I have to keep. And then I went, no, I promised Fat Granny I was going to be there. So I just imagined you looking for me and me not being there. So I'm actually happy you told me that you were out there and not over here, because I would be honest, I would have been like, you know what? She's on video. What? She's not going to be looking for me. No, it worked out. It worked out. So I'm telling you, sometimes
I encouraged her to do that. I encouraged her to go over to the commission meeting. And then my issue is that no matter how much
14th,
people
correct?
Huh?
That was on the 14th?
Yes. So
I've had a lot of people ask me about it because they want to hear what Becky had to say. I'm going to go ahead and post the link to it so everybody can see it in the comments there.
Okay, because it should be on there. My comments should be on there also, since they were written.
I don't even remember what I said.
So every Tuesday morning at 9:30 is the commission meeting. If anybody else wants to make comments, you can still make comments. You can still go on their Zoom. That's every Tuesday morning at
Mona,
9:30 Los Angeles time.
can I ask you a question? How soon
Absolutely.
after I I spoke, how soon after I spoke did they shut down the meeting? The comments.
Oh, probably 4 or 5 people after. So they only give 45 minutes total. So if you do that,
Okay.
that's only 15 people if everybody took 3 minutes. And
And
that's between people that are there and people that are on the phone.
and folks, here is the actual
You know, I
website
haven't been
for
able to
the
find it
commission.
online.
I just posted a link to it, so you'll be able to. I'll email it to you so that you can
Thank you.
see the video on that. And if why can't you just copy it and edit it and put it out there on your own channel? So and
So
then
let's talk about next steps though, because we went to the OIG, we've been to the police commission meetings, we're gonna try and everybody go to the neighborhood council meetings. So doing a micro and a macro level. But I think a next step should be, and okay, so we're not gonna do RICO or anything like that on this, but I feel that you guys should protest the mayor's office, around the mayor's office, or around LAPD specifically
Look,
for
the
them
mayor has
to,
already been linked to Scientology.
yeah, well, yes and no. She has spoke
Well,
over there, but
let's say
she's
no. Let me digress. She's been linked to being friendly with Scientology.
right because they gave her moolah when she was going for when she was
they
getting
donated
votes
her
and stuff.
Yeah,
campaign.
Yeah, they donated to her campaign. But what needs to be protested is to stop the bias. Stop the bias. That's what needs to be protested.
Absolutely. That's got to be put out there on Front Street. It's got to be literally shoved in their faces, and it needs to be made very public. That's the best way of handling these kinds of things is when you force it to be out there in public, and there's just no they can't just slink away from it like they normally would. It's a
Yep.
very important thing.
And I would link it to kids cannot consent. Stop the bias. Kids cannot consent. Open your eyes or open your ears, something like that, because they are avoiding kids being harmed through their bias. They are letting children be abused on a daily basis with their bias. Daily.
well, let
And I
me
just
add
found,
something to that.
okay,
Sorry. Let me add
nope, you're
something to
there.
that.
I respect it.
You know, with the educating our community, and I'm speaking for our Latino community, telling them that they're auditing kids makes no sense. Becky, you're the
Right.
very best addition to this movement. Thank you. Thank you, Becca Jean. You have to use the language of your community. In my case, I go out there, they're either Christian or they're Catholics. So
Mm-hmm.
I start telling them, and I don't go into it like, oh my God, let me tell you about Scientology. It's more of a hi, especially if we're passing out food. Hi, how are you? Da 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 da. You kind of start chit chatting. If we're in front of Blue, it's like, over there, they're holding confessions with children. I know. Thank you, my love. Thank you. Yeah, it's okay. Just leave it there. My dog got a hold of one of my yarns, and that's what I kept looking at, like, oh, I'm gonna get you when I'm off. Okay, babe. Thank you. And you start using think. You start using the language of your community. In my case, they're Latinos, mostly Catholics, Christian. And you start using, you know what? They go into and they act like the kids are the confessors. And then they tell them what their sins are. And then you go into, they want to have sex with children. And then they proceed to actually um, showing their fantasies on the children's body. And the reason you go into it that way for me is because they get the idea without really scaring them shitless. And, it's now a little seed in there. It's now a little, wait, that doesn't sound right. Exactly. That doesn't sound right.
That's right.
When I heard auditing, I don't like that was fucking IRS. I'm like, I already owe them fucking taxes. Scientology doesn't. So fuck it. What the hell is auditing? That's a Scientology term. That's a Scientology terms that kind of washes away the disgusting shit that they do. To me, auditing sounds.
I agree with you. That's what I was thinking of this morning was LAPD needs to understand that the children are being made to be the priests, and they're having to not only listen to the sordid and gross confessions, they have to ask them more about it. That is disgusting.
And get into
LAPD.
detail. And then what Serge Delmar was saying.
Yep.
Sorry.
So how do we get the mayor to understand to tell LAPD to knock it off?
Well, I can tell you right now, one of the best ways is that when it's put out there, and especially on social media, and then we're talking about news outlets and things like that, when it's put out there and everybody sees it and the mayor has no way of hiding from it, and it's a serious blotch on the mayor's integrity and on their office, that's how you get them to do things. You've got to
let me
make
ask
it.
you, what mainstream media, what newspaper, what TV station normally reports on Karen Bass and her stupidity?
Yes,
Well, you
Dawn,
got the
I know.
LA Times.
Those are the ones we got to send it to.
You got the LA Times, you have, all of your major news outlets will report on that because it was national news about the fight between Karen Bass and who she was running against for mayor of LA, and the fact that and she was being, they were saying that she was affiliated with Scientology and how she was fighting against that. And so all of the major national news outlets, CNN, MSNBC, all of them, they all carried part of that. But the thing is we got to get it rolling with one news outlet that's going to start printing this. Then the others want to start picking up on it because none of them want to be.
I can tell you, it won't be the LA Times. The LA Times have run more articles, positive articles on Scientology or Scientology friends, like the guy that gave Scotty the black eye. He had done a paddle out, and they put him in such a high regards. It was a non-violent. Son of a bitch went and sucked Scotty in the eye, and LAPD. Well, I mean, what's LA Times? I don't know. Maybe we can go smaller and then bigger.
I don't go with I don't look at a lot of news outlets myself. I find so much bias and so many things going on in the news media nowadays that I want true news. But you got to find something, and you may have to start off on the local level, the small news outlets there that the local folks are doing it about LA news and things like that, and let it start growing from that point. And that's how you got to start it's a grassroots campaign is what it is. That's the best way I can describe it.
I have I have an idea that might be fun. I told you run when I say this could be fun. How about getting somebody to make a banner to protest out in front of the mayor's office or close as you can get to it that says, "Why are you, Mayor Bass, letting children something gross adults?" And I don't know the right word.
You mean
that's
like
what I was
something
gonna say.
like
That's
this and something like this and something like this?
well,
Uh-huh.
I was thinking that if we got someone to take care of it from
I already got the
Amazon,
paper.
we
Now,
have a
what's the next
custom
move?
banner made on Amazon. I'll design it up. We have someone that's willing to flip the bill on it. We get it made up. We'll get it sent to Becky, and you have a nice professional custom banner that you and I would even go for two of them so you could put them back to back so that people going by can read it and the people uh the in the city hall there can see it. So it's nice and plain and bold right there. See, about 4 foot tall, 8 foot long, and it says, "Why
Nice and
does
bold.
LAPD not shut down child SA and trafficking? Why
And
does the
leave it at
mayor or
that.
why doesn't the mayor?" Yeah. And
And leave it at
and you
that. Because the minute that you use the word Scientology, people shut down. It's like their
yeah.
buttholes just shrivel up. They're so fucking afraid of it.
Why doesn't Mayor Karen Bass stop the child SA and human trafficking going on in LA?
How about the
Or why does she
local?
support it? Yep.
I say
And
we use the local child trafficking, because when you hear child trafficking, you think it's happening in Colombia and Mexico
right.
and
Well, that's
and it never happens in our country. Oh my God, it can never happen in our country.
why I
It's
say,
happening in your backyard.
in LA. And you have in LA in there, and I'm sure that there's a lot of people who could come up with um Lorraine, we have to be careful about using that word on YouTube, so that's why we're saying SA, and that's for sexual assault, and because
Hmm.
YouTube has a real bad thing about shutting down videos that have that kind of wordage in them, so we have to be careful about it. But the thing
Oh,
is,
good idea, Don. Good idea.
so what we want to do is we want a nice big banner that they can't just ignore and put it out there. Becky, what kind of ties to the local churches do you have?
Catholic. But you
Well,
know what? As a matter of fact, I can't remember what Catholic church was. And I have to look at it. What Catholic church was warning their parishioners of Scientology? I have to look into that. I remember there was a Catholic church kind of warning them. And
well,
hello, the Catholic Church. Please don't even
yeah,
go into that one.
they haven't got the best of history when it comes to dealing
That's
with
why I
children
said.
themselves.
That's why I
But
said let's just sheesh. But look,
also being a harm reduction specialist, I'm sure that there are a number of community organizations that you deal with on almost a daily basis,
Mhm.
that if we could get them all, start getting not all of them, but just a good grouping of them together to get out there and support you on this. Yeah, I mean, like the folks who are now under the being under addictions to narcotics and things like that, how traumas in their childhood led them to the point they're at this stage in their life, and the other groupings, and get them behind it and start making this movement. What are they gonna do? You show up with a few hundred
well,
people in
Samuel,
front of them.
I don't know if you saw the live where I took Samuel right after the same live when I took Samuel after the meeting with the commissioner. Um, and I went into his encampment, and there was a lady in purple there. I can't remember her name. That kind of helped me with the process because I've never been to that commissioner meetings. I didn't know what the
Right.
hell I was doing, and she's the one that wrote out whatever.
I
Yeah,
think
they
Phyllis
don't
has a really good
understand
point
auditing. You're
here.
right.
Almost everybody understands what confession is.
Confession,
But auditing, like you said,
confessions.
a lot of people confuse that. So if we use that point of that they're using children to take confessions of sins from adults, and when they get into the actual nature, these are children who are having to ask about this and having to go deeper and listen to this. How is it that you're going to put a child in a situation where they're going to be taking in the confessions of SA, different kinds of acts like that is being told directly to this child. I think that
And then
play
they
that.
absolve
Yeah,
their sins by practicing it on them, is how I say it.
yeah.
They absolve
Yeah,
their sins by practicing it on them.
just nasty. Now see, Pinche Becky, I have a contact in Chino Hills at a church down in Chino Hills. It's a big church down there, and maybe they can help out with some of it too.
I'm
And
not, you know what? I'm not a church going person, and I ain't gonna lie. I think the last time I went to church was, I don't know, maybe, I don't remember. That's how long it's been.
but the thing
And
is,
Okay, anybody
what
that's
we
not
do,
church going, close your ears. I don't think God cares. I think God loves you no
no,
matter what. So
no, you know,
you're good. You're
I'm
good.
still Catholic. I'm still
Mhm.
Catholic. It's not that I'm
Yeah.
anti-Catholic, anti anything, but you know what? Me and God, we have a relationship going. And me and God, we speak. And I'm gonna
Exactly.
tell you, I will curse God up. I'll be like, "Oh no, you didn't, you little mofo! What do you mean you just made me go through this? And how dare you?" And I will get angry with him because you know what? It we have I have my personal relationship with him. I know that he loves me. I know that whatever relationship you have with your higher power, whether you call it God, whether you call it whatever, I don't care.
It's all
You know
personal.
your relationship with them. Yeah,
Yep,
and
it's
so
all
me and
personal.
the church,
But I'm just
yeah,
saying
so
that
me and the
I have
churches
a
are not as tight, but I
yeah, I
right.
have an
still
in with the church
have,
down there. So
Well, that's
yeah,
that's
I
the point
still,
of it is that though you may not be part of the church, you not be a a strong going member of the church,
it's
there's
okay.
still a very strong outlet for us. And I think Sir Crepitus brought up another great one, especially with the Latino Hispanic community, is the fact of the trafficking of immigrants
yeah.
from South America into Scientology, taking their
Yep,
passports so that they can't leave.
yep.
And
Well,
I
search
think that
Del
that's
Mar.
another
Wait a
great one.
minute. They just opened up a church in Mexico City,
Mhm.
right next to the Basilica de Guadalupe, which is the biggest Catholic church in all of Mexico, and and how dare they go into El Valle del Pueblo, which is, you know, right surrounding. So the Basilica of Guadalupe in Mexico City, they have pilgrimages that come from all over the world. And and I've been there, and let me tell you, they come on their knees from miles away. And now Scientology is right at their shadow. Fuck you, Scientology. Fuck you,
The
Yeah.
Basilica de Santa Maria de Guadalupe,
Guadalupe. Yep. Look it up.
they are, yeah,
They're
they're a
right
little
under
ways
there.
away from it, but they're in this, right there in the same town from
But
it.
they're in the oldest neighborhood. They're in one of the oldest neighborhood from there. Now, the reason that why that church is so important is because it's our belief that Our Lady of Guadalupe appeared to indigenous people. That's where it's at. Our indigenous people built it. Our native people built it. That's why it is so important to us. It was right smack in the middle of Aztec world.
So
There
Becky, back to the police and the mayor and stuff. John Poe on the Go said he would help us figure out some signs. And
Okay.
I think maybe
I'll
that's
carry
something
them.
once a week. Once a week, you
I'll
guys go
carry
out
them.
there
I don't
and
know how often. I'm not, look, right now, I cannot commit to once a week, twice a week, every day, all day, but I will commit to go out there and hold up that sign. I have no problem. As you guys can see, my mouth is very loud. My
What?
voice is going, but
Really?
it's still very loud.
I think that one of the things that we can do is you can getting with Serge, getting with Danny, getting with those folks, the banner can literally be passed on from one person to the next and
Right.
just keep in rotation and keep pressuring City Hall there. At some point, somebody is going to see that. And especially if reporters are there all the time following up on stuff that's going on within LA. And so they're going to, at some point, you're going to get the right journalist who's going to see it, and they're going to be like, why is no one talking about this? Why is the city of Los Angeles not dealing with the fact that this is happening? Why is it that where we have a huge Latina Hispanic population, and we now know that there is human trafficking, they're bringing people in from South America, South and Central America, taking their passports and basically holding them hostage? Why is this not being reported about? If we keep doing it that way, keep handing it off from one person to the next, get Jay parked out there with his truck out there, or DOA with it plastered right on the side of it. Those are the things that are going to start making a real difference in what's going on here. And they can't just keep ignoring it if they get enough people out there. And I mean, what's to say we can't get enough of these organizations together and actually hold a day of silence for all the victims, the children and the
There you go.
trafficking victims? Hold a day of silence
You know,
right there
right
in front
now,
of City Hall.
sorry, I think it's meant to be. I'm just watching this hummingbird going crazy right outside my she
I
shed.
think you're getting a sign.
There you
I don't,
go.
me and hummingbirds,
She's saying,
me and hummingbirds, and
Pinche
it's like
Becky.
going nuts.
Yeah,
No,
because
it's
it needs a mother for the movement. Pinche Becky.
I'm Tia Becky. I can't be a mother. I'm trying to give up my own son for adoption, but he can't get married yet.
Come be the
No, it's
abuela
going
of our
crazy, and
movement, Pinche Becky. Be our abuela.
you know what? It's just like going crazy, and I keep looking over there. I don't even know if you guys can hear it. The hummingbird chirp. If you don't know what it is, you'll miss it. I know what it is because there's usually hummingbirds that kind of have a nest around my guava tree, and it's just going fucking crazy. And I'm like, okay, okay, okay. I hear you. I hear you. You know, I take signs from the universe. You know, um, and I'll tell you a quick one where you guys are gonna think, okay, Becky, you've lost your shit now. One time, and I'll tell you this. My son used to go to Catholic school. I could no longer afford the tuition for the following year. We were on our way to go get the candle and stuff for his first communion. And my son is in the back seat. Oh, and next year, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that, and this is in May when it's all the communions, the first communions. And all I thought was, I can't afford it anymore. I was a single parent. So someone had given me, like a little saint thingy, and I had it in my whatever board. What is it called? The sun visor. And all it said was, "In you I trust." And I lost my shit. Oh, so you trust him? This is what I mean about having your own I'm really late. My internet here is terrible. Well, it's okay, Karina. You're a little late. Come on in. Welcome.
Well, what I was going to say is
This is what I tell
Karina's
you
from
about having
Brazil.
your own relationship. I'm sorry?
Karina is from Brazil. She lives in
Oh,
Brazil.
hola. I'm sure you will understand my Spanish. Bienvenida, bienvenida. Mucho gusto. So I lost my shit, and I'm thinking, now this is what I mean about you having a relationship with your higher power. I went, seriously? You trust in me? You know what? You need to give me a sign because I am so sick and tired of reading your mind. I can no longer read your mind, and I'm going fucking crazy in the car. And I am just in tears. And I was like, I need a sign because I'm so afraid. I get to the bookstore. My son goes running in and then running out. Mom, Miss Roberta is in there. De nada, Karina. My Miss Roberta is in there now. Miss Roberta was the principal to that Catholic church, and I went. That's kind of funny. She was supposed to be on vacation, so I go in there. She says she wants to talk to you, so I go in there, and I'm like, "Hey, weren't you supposed to be on vacation?" And she's all like, "Yeah, I don't even know. I'm on my way to Vegas. I stopped by here. I don't know why." And then she says, "But wait, I got a last minute donation that it said I can do whatever I wanted to do with it." She says it's kind of weird for it to be an anonymous donation in May and for it to tell me that, it's not assigned to anything. She says, "I'm going to give your son a scholarship for next year." And I went, so I kind of told her what had just happened. And the little nun running the bookstore heard it. Now I'm in fucking tears because I'm all like, damn, I know I asked you for a sign, but seriously? The damn principal to the school. I go into the chapel and it said on the wall, "Do not be afraid. Am I not with you?" And I went, oh yeah. Oh hell. And my son got, so that's what I mean by little signs. If you perk up, and it doesn't have to be in a religious manner, it can be anything, anything can kind of push it your way. And I'm just seeing myself out there with this big old sign, and yeah.
Well,
We'll put a little
Something big is
hummingbird
going
on
to come,
the
I'm
sign for
telling you.
you.
I don't know if you
Well,
noticed or not, but we have
Well, yeah,
Michael
well,
here.
John Paul
hi,
sent
Michael.
me a little art something.
Oh, yeah, Michael's here.
Thank
But
you.
like I was
Oh, my
saying,
Michael. Yes. Yes.
My darling.
What do
having
you want us to
Michael
do for you guys?
Serge,
What do you want us to do? Because I heard Lara's and I heard Serge Delmar's story, and it pissed me off. And that's the main reason. And now I lost you because I can't find you. There you go. That's the main reason why I'm out there. Michael, what do you guys need from me? What do you need? Tell me, what do you need? I'm
waiting for
waiting.
him to respond. He says he just jumped in. So, Michael, if it's okay, I'm going to send you a link on Facebook Messenger and see about. Let's see here. Oh,
While
goodness.
we're waiting for Michael Pinche Becky.
Hell no, I gotta look my
Is that-
best. Hold
Send me
on.
a
That's
message
why-
on Facebook Messenger because when I typed it in, I've got 300 Michaels in my list, and there's
Hold on, because if Michael's coming on, I gotta look my best now. Hold on. Hold that thought. I gotta look my best. Hold on. Don't
yeah,
get him
Michael,
on here
send
just
me
yet.
a message on Facebook Messenger. We've got something we've been talking about here that I think you and Serge would be really interested in. It's we're talking about getting LA, especially the mayor, to understand the depth of what's going on with Scientology, why we need to start stepping up the game, and one way that we've been thinking about doing it. And so what if you could send me a message real quick,
Well,
it'd
I'm
be
sorry.
awesome.
While you do that, let me just go grab my doggy that's again in my yarn box, and I will return. Sorry, guys. Let me mute you guys. I don't want you guys hearing me.
So see, folks, see why I knew this was going to be an easy night for me after that long drive. So I knew let these two go, and I'm going to be in good shape tonight. But yeah, Michael, if you could just shoot me, or you know what, or just email me real quick. I'll send you a link, and
Just put the link right in the chat just for Michael.
well, it's the I don't have a way of doing it just for him, and so the link to jump into the StreamYard, everybody will be able to do it. So I don't want to throw it out and have some of the trolls and stuff like that have the link to get in there. So
gotcha.
Let's see here. Yeah. But Michael, we've been talking about something that's really interesting that could be a nice way to start forcing not only LAPD, but the let's see here. Something,
Mona, send me your. I don't know what. Send me your what, Michael?
Michael, what'd you want her to send you? So, but I think that you might really be interested in this idea that we've got with a new way of protesting and actually taking it to the mayor and council and um, making them start holding themselves responsible and forcing their hand on everything. Let's see here. And
It's kind
Michael,
of sad that we have to force their hand to do the right thing.
it's
You
bad that it has to
assholes.
be that way, but they're forcing us
Thank you,
to do
Michael.
this. They got no room to complain. But he says you're beautiful just as you are. You don't have to worry about it. So
Oh, you see, let me tell you guys something. When you hear these stories, take away the name Scientology, because I feel sometimes that name kind of, and I'm not saying that they're not at fault. They're the core reason
right.
why this shit is happening. But just for a second, take away the Scientology name. Can you imagine being put in a fucking hotel and these disgusting things are being done to your own child and you fucking believe it's for the best?
Right. It's
How? How can you allow this to be done to your own child? If you believe that science, and again, I tried not to use the word Scientology as much because to me it's disgusting either way, whether it's Scientology, the Catholic Church, or whoever the fuck it is. It's disgusting. Right now, it's Scientology that we're focusing
I
on.
just sent it to Michael on our email that we have. The
But
link that you sent me.
okay. Excellent.
So
Excellent. Yeah.
but
So Michael,
just
if
imagine.
you've got a few minutes, you
Oh,
can
it just
jump in. It
pisses
would
me
be
off.
awesome. Yeah, it would be because
Shut
I
up for
think
a
you'll
minute.
yeah,
like
I honestly, I'm going to tell you that Michael and Serge and I have been talking and doing all this OIG stuff and Audit LA, and I honestly, I think the second phone call we zoomed, I said, "Bye, love ya."
are they just not
Well, you can't help it.
absolutely
You
I
beautiful?
can't
can't
help
help
it but
it.
love these people.
Oh my goodness.
They've been through so much. You can't help it.
There and folks, if you haven't seen it yet, you got to get over there. You got to give Michael some love and support. He and Serge are doing just amazing stuff, and we got to make sure that we're showing them the love and support, folks. Um, so and there's the link to his channel. If like I said, if you haven't seen it before, you didn't know about Michael, you didn't know about if you don't know who literally Serge is, I don't know what planet you've been on.
Search Del Mar.
Yeah,
I found
but
him by Search Del Mar. Literally,
yeah,
Search was there. That's sassafras. Oh, no, you're right. Sorry.
there
Search
you
Del
go.
Mar.
It's Serge Delmar,
Hmm.
and also um, here is the link to his channel as well. They're just absolutely beautiful souls. They're beautiful people.
And his
I've got the
story is
chance to
so
talk to them.
powerful. His story
Yeah.
is so powerful. I'm gonna tell you, I'll hop into some of his lives,
Hmm.
and what he's saying, I think it's every child who has been through what he has been, and I'm one of them. I listen to his story, and I don't comment very much because I'm pretty much left speechless because I thought I went through shit, and it's like
Right.
I don't comment very much other than I'm here, kind of hello, and then I have to jump off. It's so powerful that sometimes I leave his stream in tears because it's like how and I jump
Right.
purposely into his streams because sometimes when you lose that little fire, when LAPD is on your ass, when you are now being targeted, when you are now being followed, you're like, you know what, fuck this shit. I'm done with it. And when I
Right.
think that way, I'll jump into his chat and I'll jump into his live and I'm like, okay, now I remember why I'm doing this. That's just one child. Laura is another. Laura SPTV, I think it is. She's another one, and this is just two very powerful stories, and I cannot imagine how, my brain just won't, it doesn't have the capacity to imagine how many more children are going into Scientology, how many more of these fucking parents are going to allow their kids to be, oh my
Right.
God, I just,
Well, that's how, cults work, is controlling how you think, controlling your presence of who you are, what's going on around you. So they believe that it's like with many of the other cults out there, they're doing the right thing. And part of their belief is that there's no such thing as children, that children are actually old souls in young bodies. So that's one of the ways that they can try to excuse what is happening with children is, well, they're not actually children, they're old souls, so that's not our problem. And the thing is that this
you
is
fucking
it's
assholes,
insanity.
you fucking
Uh,
assholes. Even those old souls
oh,
were
hold on,
kids
don't be saying that
before.
right now
Even
because
those
Michael's
old
here.
souls were kids before.
Hello, Michael.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hi, darling.
Oh my
Look at
goodness.
Becky light up.
Look at who got brought
So,
in.
Michael, one of the things we've been talking about is bringing the fight, not just with LAPD and Scientology, but now bringing it to LA City Hall, to the mayor, holding them accountable. So one of the things we've been thinking about is actually creating a banner that says to the effect of, why does Mayor Bass allow human trafficking and child SA to continue to happen in LA
In our
and
city.
do nothing about it? A nice 4 foot by 8 foot banner to hold up in front of City Hall. And what we do is basically hand it off from person to person, so that one day you've got Pinche Becky's there. Next day we could have Michael and Serge out there. We could have DOA. We could have Jay, and keep moving this forward. So every day this is out there and it's in their face and there's no disregarding it, and keep this movement going.
Well, I think definitely, anywhere that we can go after whoever we could get. I mean, I keep hearing it's like, what was I watching last night? I was watching something last night where it was a comedian here in Los Angeles has a new show, and all of a sudden he had Karen Bass on there, and she was talking about all the wonderful things that she's working on in the city. And I was just so disgusted. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, she's all fluff and puff. And I think to be able to get into her office and to get her on board with the mission is number one. It's just like baby steps getting into the office.
Right. We've been talking about the fact of trying to deal with LAPD, the police commission, and all that. Mona's made amazing strides in that
Yes,
field.
yes.
With
And
Michael. Yeah,
okay,
with Michael. We've been doing it together.
excellent. There you go. And the thing is that we're not, it's there is getting some notice, but it's got to come from higher up, because if we can't get it from the top levels down, it just continues to fester. They'll ignore it for a little bit and they'll do what they got to do to appease people for the moment, but we've got to start holding their feet to the fire. And I was talking with Becky, and there's a lot of other things that we can look into, especially with the large Latina and Hispanic population there, and the fact of the human trafficking that's going on. And start organizing groupings to come out and help with the protests of this. So
we've been really, I mean, as Mona says, we've been working together in the background, and we are working together in the background. And we've been really lucky because we're slowly putting together a crew that we are assigning different tasks for. And this is definitely a task that needs to be assigned to one of our crew members, because we're being baby steps. We're not running into this because this is a slow game. This is not a long game. This is a slow game, and we're finding the cracks where we can find the cracks, and we squeeze in through the cracks. And that's how we have to do it. So yes, definitely Karen Bass is on our list. And I would love, I mean, God, how I would love just to sit down and have lunch with her and just have a conversation with her. just to, just to get in that door, because like she's not oblivious, but she's oblivious, but she's not oblivious.
Absolutely.
She's an idiot, but I'll be nice.
Well, these politicians will do anything and everything to do, whatever they have to do to save their own ass. That's what they're doing. And you see it all around the board. You see it with LAPD. You see, look at me yesterday. I don't know if you got a chance to see what I was doing yesterday, Poe, but you just see these police officers. Here I was at a public event yesterday. They had a permit to use L. Ron Hubbard Ways. It was for El Salvador, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Scientologists, when I was walking down there, they came up to me and they told me, "Oh, you need to leave before you get arrested for trespassing." I'm like, "Who am I trespassing?" And so I sat there and I said to him, "I'm like, no, this was broadcast on TikTok. All are invited. Come support our mission here. Come support our vendors. Come, support us." And I did that. But meanwhile, somehow the Scientologists got to the head of the organization for El Salvador's meeting and said, "Oh, no, he's trouble there." And how are they able to influence? It's just ridiculous how thick this goes.
Right. And that's
yep, they put the fear of God in them. And let me tell you, when I spoke with the Salvadorian consul, that woman was shaking. But you know what? You represent the community. You're supposed to support your community. How many human rights violations haven't you heard about? So why all of a sudden now you act like, oh my God, these people? Fuck her too. I don't care.
Well,
you know what? If you don't have the cojones to be out there and back up your community after you gave us your word that you would, then you don't need to be in that position. I'm sorry, but that's just.
You know what? When people, unfortunately, the sad part is, and Poe, this is, my dad was an LAPD officer, and people, when they see that badge, they just get so scared, especially the Latin community. How many family members are here that that they're not here on a green card. They don't have anything. So they're really, I mean, they're in this fear. And so when they see that badge, they freeze and they'll do anything to respect that badge. Well, I say this to the badge, it's like, you know what? I know what's behind the badge. I know who's behind the badge. And, and it was sad because like I even did a little short today on the police officer that came up to me, and I just got done talking to this great lady that has all these holistic places down in El Salvador. She wants to promote more stuff. And I told her about my personal company that I have for pets. And she's like, "Oh my God, I would love to have you. Maybe I would love to work with you and actually maybe bring your so I was supporting. There was a printer there I was supporting. There was, a girl with her own mobile nail salon. I do events. I do weddings. So there was all these people I was supporting. But then the police got to that lady that you were talking about, and then she was like, "What?" And I'm like, "Who's gonna do the arrest on me?" And they're like, "Oh, she is." I'm like, "Why is she gonna be arresting me? What have I?" But it's just that thick. And so we have to remember to have compassion for everybody during this process, because this is a slow game. If we jump and attack at all these people and like, of course I wanted to go there today and just attack her. No, I've got her information. I'm actually going to go into her office this week and I'm going to have a lovely little conversation with her, and I'm going to like bring it. And it's part of our animation that we have in our pack. It's like we get to bring this to the public, because she was frightened. You saw it, when I looked at her and I asked her, I said, "Did you post on TikTok that everybody's welcome to come here today and support?"
She said yes.
And the police is like going, and that's when I looked at him and I'm like, "Look, you just embarrassed yourself. You didn't embarrass me."
Yeah.
But it's like,
she invited me personally. And I told, and I just posted the video that I told her I would make private, and I will say it again.
You said that, yeah.
If she withdrew her support on me, then why should I not post what I told her that I would keep private? And there's nothing wrong with what she said or what I told her. I just told her about the kids that were being in there. And you know what? She did look frightened. And then they cornered her. They literally cornered her.
cornered her.
And that part,
It wasn't the city, it
yes, they
was
did.
Scientology. And why was Scientology running around their event? They had no right to be running around their event. And you saw at one point that they set up a table with all their books and all that. And someone made them take their table down because they were not part of it. They weren't there to sell Scientology book, and they actually made take their table down. So they pulled out their Scientology books. But it's just like, I say this all the time. We have to have compassion for everybody. She did not know what she was getting herself into. She did not know that by permitting that. And
I'll
it's
be
sad.
nice.
No, you have to be
Right.
nice, Becky. You have to.
Well, we
It's
were.
like, I know we were, and that's all you do is you have the respect for the moment, and then you go back after the fact. And because like the girls that after they had that conversation with me, I went back and spoke to the lady that I just got done talking to that they pulled me away from, and they're like, "What's going on?" And they had no idea about Scientology. Nobody knew. A
No,
lot of
they
people
didn't.
understand what's going on behind the walls of Scientology, and that's our number one mission for the public is to bring that information. Because if we don't bring the information, nobody else is going to.
And like you were talking earlier about with
The
fear of
surrounding community is aware. The surrounding community, the large Latino community, Central American especially, they are aware of it. Because when I went around past, I think it was Vermont and whatever, they have a taco place, a carnitas place that I went to go get, and they know about it. They know, and they will tell you, you know what, we stay away from that building. And I spoke to another, I think she was from Guatemala, the day that I was handing out the lemongrass tea on Friday. And I didn't catch her on video because I don't record really when I'm not doing something. And especially if I'm talking to the community, I want them to feel free to speak. I don't want them to feel like they have, thank you, my love. I don't want them to feel that they have this camera on them and now it's all. So I don't, I talk to them away from the camera, but their stories is always the same, the same, the same. Oh no, we stay away from there.
Yeah. Well, Michael, like you were talking about with the badge and everything like that, that's why I've said it many times, pretty much since I started this channel. The officer makes the badge, not the badge makes the officer. And it's the amount of integrity and honor you have as an officer and the fact that you're willing to stand behind your oath to support the United States Constitution, support the rights of the people. That's what makes the badge. That's why, back in earlier times, there used to be a thing they called officer friendly, and how we had moved so far away from that. And in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, where it got to be, instead of worrying about community policing, being part of the community, it was about just get out there, do the job, write as many tickets as you can, earn as much money for the city as you can. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not a revenue collection machine for the city. My job as a police officer is to protect and serve. And that's the way I've always looked at it. That's why I've always been heavily involved in the community. And I think they keep pushing out these officers and training them in this way where everyone is your enemy. The citizens hate you. They're never going to like you. You're nothing that you're going to do is going to change it. And these officers keep getting pumped out like that. They're putting them out on the streets. And what do? They put them into the absolute worst areas for their initial training once they get out on the streets as a police officer, and they start believing that. And I think that there has to be a whole change in mindset in law enforcement it's not about whether the community hates you or not. Who cares if they hate you? You do your job and you do it right. You serve the community.
Sir Crepitus taught me something the other day on one of his videos. I'm not too old to learn a little bit, and that's the Los Angeles Police Directive 02006. And that the police officer, and that's, you need to remember that number, the Police Directive 02006. A police officer has the discretion to file the PPA or accept the PPA or not. That's the directive 02006.
Oh,
Well, you know,
sure.
Well, that's another thing. They gave those forms to Scientology in my presence. When we were out there, when Scotty got all the hot dogs, not was it that day? No, 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 no. When Laura went out and spoke with Otto, whatever the hell his name is. And I asked him, I said, let me have those forms too. Oh no, we don't give those to the public. Oh, but you'll give it to Scientology?
well, you know, that's what I said yesterday to the police officer that was, who approached me. As I looked at him, and he's like, you really, I'm trying to be nice to you right now and let you know that you've been warned that
Was
you're
it the
going to get
sergeant?
the guy that I forget his name right now, the guy that I was talking to, but he sat there and it
But
was,
was it a sergeant?
I don't think so. And so he said to me,
Oh,
he's like, yeah, I'm trying to be nice and did it. And I said, where are
yeah, he
you?
said the same thing to me.
Wait. Let me speak, Becky. I have to tell these ladies, hold on, they get going. You got to put, but there you go. Perfect. Okay. I'll send you one of mine. Okay. But yeah, here, how can I like reach there and go, no. But he sat there and I sat there and I said, it sounds like you've got them. You're on their side. Where are you on my side? Protecting me with my right of somebody threatening to actually do a public arrest on me for what? Why don't you sit here and be on my side for a second? Let's go investigate this and see who's doing this and why are they doing it so that you can actually stand up for my rights. Well, I'm not here to do that. It's really sad. Unfortunately, in Hollywood and near any Scientology building that I've been around in Florida, wherever, the first thing they do is they become pals with the local police department. They honor them with all these awards, all these special, checks for this, use our property for this. We're going to give you overtime pay for this. And so they get in the pocket of the Scientologists, and there's nothing that we can do about that. The only thing we can do is just keep going out there and showing our face, because Scientology right now is stressed. You see it.
Yeah.
Their actions and what's going on with Scientology. Serge has been doing this for a lot longer than anybody that's been on these channels. I've been here with him watching this and watching what he's been doing in the background for over a decade now. Okay. And to see, the movement that's happening right now with Scientology, it's pretty impressive that they're this stressed out right now.
Yeah. And and I've been trying to stress that what you were talking about earlier as well. This is a marathon. This isn't a sprint.
Right.
We've got to dig our heels in, and we've got to be prepared for the long haul of this. And that's why I've been doing a lot of content where I'm showing this is how you build your reports that you're sending to the elected officials. This is how you build your reports or complaints against the actions of the police. What I want to do is I said it as chief of police thousands of times. The best police officers are the ones you give training to. That's how you build good police officers. And so that's why I keep doing these. Is I want the folks who are going to be in this, I want everybody to have their own arsenal, that they know that if I've got to do a report on this or I've got to make a complaint on this, these are the kind of steps I got to do. And I was just looking there when you were talking about that. LAPD on their own website, this is their motto: to protect and serve. Are they, but the problem with it is it doesn't say who they're protecting and serving, because right now they're protecting and serving Scientology. They're not serving their community. They're not protecting their community. And, we just have to be prepared. LAPD is a huge organization with a lot of money. Scientology is a huge organization with a lot of money. SPTV is grassroots and it's building by the day, but we got to be prepared. None of this happens overnight. And we just got to be vigilant about it. And, having you and Serge out there, and, I think that, that's one of the reasons, when I saw that you'd come in, we were talking about it earlier about you and Serge as, part of the relay team, handing the baton of the banner or something, along those lines, is that it's very important that we all recognize the fight we have, and that we all come together in a formulated plan, because Scientology's got their plan down. We've just got to figure out how we're going to do it ourselves and what's going to be
Okay,
the best
let me
route.
just say something about the protesters. You know, it doesn't matter who it is. We all bring something to the table. And I know that some of them are viewed more than others. Some of them are accepted more than others. But every single person that goes out there has some value. Again, don't put anybody on a pedestal, because if they fucking do something wrong and that pedestal gets pulled from under them, I'm gonna tell you straight up, this is who I am. I'm loudmouth. I will make a mistake, and I think I've said it before. I will fuck up. Let me just guarantee you, I will fuck
We
up.
all do.
And
We all do.
once that being
It's
said,
called being human.
Yeah.
yeah, but you know what? When they feel that someone has messed up and they are horrible to them in chat, and I'm not going to mention any names, but when that protester feels that they're no longer welcome, or their protesting is no longer worth something, and now they feel that they no longer bring value to this protest, then we already started losing. Because no matter, as long as they're not saying anything harmful towards any of the victims, you know, like I said, we're all gonna fuck up. We're all gonna fuck up, except whoever is out there as a protester completely. As long as they're not bringing harm to the victims, to the protesters, then you know what? Don't put us on a pedestal, because we're gonna fucking fall flat in our face. I'm gonna just tell you that.
So I think that, you know, and that's why I was happy to get you in, Michael, to get you in on this chat, because you are. Sometimes we all get worked up. I get worked up. Not Pinche Becky. She never gets worked up. But, you know, we need that calming voice. and that I, you know, that's why I was very happy that you were willing to jump in, because you're going to have ideas. You're there, boots on the ground, and you're doing it almost daily. So the thing would be is that's why I you know, I think that you are a very good driving and calming voice in this movement, and you're able to steer how people think and feel and get us in the right direction. And I want to thank you for jumping in on that. So,
Well, you know, it's like I was on Pearl Snappies just a little while ago, and then just before that, I was on Zachary, and Zachary is going through a hard time, it looks like right now, because of like he's taking everything all the other protesters are saying. He's like, and we've got to remember, this is not junior high school. This is not high school. We're not on a playground and we've got these little cliques here and there and here and there and there. We are a team of people that have certain beliefs that are very similar, and we've got a mission in mind. And if we bring our mission together and we get rid of that childish play, and that childish play is going to naturally pop up for many of us because we are getting triggered so many different ways. I get triggered by seeing the LAPD officer because my dad was, and it wasn't a very delightful situation that I was in. But, you know, I learned to look past it, you know, but it's like we have to be together in all this and forgive everybody for if they make a mistake, they're going to make a mistake. But the protesters that are out there, just the fact that they're out there, you've got to have compassion for them no matter what they're doing. You know, no matter what they're doing. Now, there's some people out there, I could say, you know, I'm just as guilty as other people about there's some protesters out there that, you know, they just don't sit right with me. But you know what? That's okay, because they're touching somebody else that they sit right with right now. And that's all that matters. It's not about how I feel about them. It's about the mission that I have in my heart to be able to protect the kids and get the kids out of there and, you know, make it right for the kids. And, you know, and so we have to remember that we are not kids in high school. We're not cliques in high school. We have to stay focused on our mission and work together as a team, because if we don't work together, because it, you know, because like in the last few months, we've seen a lot of these people come out at each other and they're attacking each other and they're saying this about each other. And I'm like, guys, stop.
right.
You know, yeah,
Well,
we
that's
don't
one of their tactics, is to divide and conquer.
and that's
That's
exactly what
their
they want to
tactic.
see. They want to see us at each other's throat, because if everybody's at each other's throat, then we're not at their throat. You know,
Yep.
and we're not, our attention's been dragged away from what our initial intention is supposed to be, is about our mission about saving the children. It's not about attacking this organization. Yes, there are many people out there that, you know, and this is me saying, like, I'm trying not to say it, but I'm saying it, that they have their opinion about what happened to them while they were in there. And I look at them and I'm like, well, wait a second, you guys are not really being honest. You've been out in this public space for how long, and you have how much information, and you haven't divulged it or shared it with others that could have made a big difference in other people's life today if you would have said something 6 months ago, a year ago, when you found out about it. But they've chosen not to for whatever reason. Now, are these people still kind of attached to Scientology? Potentially, we don't know. But you know what? We can't let it distract us. We have to stay focused on our mission.
Well, it's, that's like when I did the live about you're doing it wrong, and how there's so many people coming out and they want to talk about how the protesters are doing it wrong, and they want to talk crap about them and all that. And my point on it is every time you see them show up and Scientology folds up their tables, takes their books, run inside their building, lock the doors, and close all the blinds, you are doing something. You are making an effect, because if one person doesn't walk into that building as a potential new Scientologist, you've made ground. And I just, that's my feeling on it, is that everybody is making some kind of effect on how it's going on. And I would love to see an end to this all infighting that's in it. And I'm guilty of it too, because I get so upset when I hear people that are just trying to be supportive and show other people the respect that they need, and see them getting drug out into it. I speak up from time to time, but that's why I've been trying to start curve more into, these are different things that you can do, different ways that you can do it. If you've been afraid of doing a channel, start your channel. Don't worry about you have $1 million studio for it. I want to start being more about helping people who want to get into this and want to be a part of the fight and have been afraid to, showing them that you don't have to be afraid. You just have to have the commitment and the courage to do it. And I agree with you 100%. The sooner we can get away from fighting with each other and return the focus directly to Scientology is that much quicker we're going to be able to bring about the end of this. We just have to remember, it's not going to happen overnight.
Well, and then think with that, Poe, is that it's kind of part of the natural process, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think that has to happen. Unfortunately, it does have to happen, because it kind of like, it allows people that aren't really here for the right reason to kind of weed themselves out.
Right.
Correct.
You know what?
I agree, because now there's somebody out there speaking against us. I agree.
Because once we start to see people's true colors, we know where we could set our boundaries with those people. Okay.
Mhm.
We're not saying get off the street, don't protest, don't do whatever you're doing, but at least we know where we stand with our respect for our beliefs and where our boundaries are, and we know where to place these people. Now, my particular, and I'll say this right now, is like, one of my things is like, I hear a lot of first gen people come on and they have a lot to say, but they got a lot. They're not saying a lot that they know, but they're just, there goes my thing. I keep doing that. Is I feel like, that's one thing that frustrates me, is because like some of these first gens have known a lot of stuff for a long time and they're still not saying it. And I'm not going to say it for them, and I can't say it for them.
Right.
Because I wasn't there, but I think this is a natural I think this is natural. It's a part of life. You know, they're going to weed themselves out, and the ones that are going to stay around are going to be the ones that really have got the power behind them and the mission behind them. And we can't be, because what happens if we focus on these people doing this or focus on the people doing this, we're not focusing on Scientology. So we have to stay focused on Scientology. We could listen to the noise. It's important for us to listen to the noise so that we understand the noise and we can make our own decision on how we want to listen to that noise and place that noise where it belongs.
Correct.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I wanted to add, we have Miss Audit LA in the house, and welcome Miss Audit LA. And we talked about your meeting tomorrow night. Just to let you know that you may have a lot of, or if you're going to go Audit LA, you may have a lot of people on your stream.
It's there's going to be a meeting tomorrow with the what is it?
The neighborhood council.
Yeah, we're gonna. It's a neighborhood council for the blue building, and I'll be there with Audit as well.
Oh, good. So you guys have a couple of streams.
Well,
I might just be there, even if I don't say anything.
And you don't have, the thing is, you don't have to say anything. It's just like, you know, it's like, I remember the first city meeting that I went to, and I didn't realize I was going to say something. And all of a sudden I had no control over what I was going to say. It just like came out of me, and I started talking about it, and it just like flew out of me because it was the passion behind me. But it's us making the connections, getting to know the people on the boards, because it's like, all we have to do is get these people to understand what's really going on, because a lot of these people on these committees have no clue what's going on.
Right.
Some of them may have some idea about the corruption or the mishandling of the power of the LAPD with the Scientology and all that, but the bottom line is, a lot of them, I mean, I can't tell you how often since, you know, I've known of Dianetics, I've known of Scientology my whole life. I grew up here in Los Angeles. I took the personality test. I'm an actor. They try to wheel me in with the acting classes and all that. And I did all that stuff. But the moment I got in there and they started showing me around, they showed me the cans. I was like, get me the fuck out of here. Something's wrong. You know, my gut said, get me the fuck out of here. And I just turned around and walked out, and they're chasing me. They're like, oh no, you're on this show. You're doing this. We want you. We want you. You know, it's like, get the fuck away from me, you know? And of course they bug me forever, but it's still,
What's the name of that meeting?
What's that?
What was I was asking Mona, what's the name of that meeting so I can put that link back up? I've got so many windows.
The neighborhood council.
That's different than the city council, right?
Yeah, this is the neighborhood. This is exactly for the blue building. Hey, Audit, can you put the information in the chat just so that we have it?
I did, and Bo already has it, but that's okay. She can do it again.
Okay, I didn't know. Okay. Yeah. So where was I? I've totally blanked
But
now.
it's a neighborhood council meeting versus a city council meeting. I just want everybody to understand that this is specifically to the neighborhood,
for the blue building
where
neighborhood.
That big blue building is.
This is for the blue building. But yeah, it's just important for us to show up and get to know these people and to give them the information. Oh yeah, I was saying, it wasn't until I met Serge did I understand the abuse that went on with the kids. And then when I met Laura, and then when I met Jen, and I met Liz, and these people, like, they've stayed with us, and I've had these conversations with them, and to understand the deep seated corruption with Scientology and what they've done to these kids, it just blows your mind when you really hear it come out of them, with their emotions coming out of them, and they're not out there protesting, screaming it, but you're actually having a conversation with them, and you see the pain and the suffering. It's like, I've been really blessed in my life, and I've had an incredible life. I've traveled the world. I've designed stuff around the world. I've created magical things, and I think these guys never had a chance to even dream about what they might want to do.
Well, look at Eric Rader. Look at Eric Rader. Every time you know, I hear his story and the anger that's in his voice, and it just breaks my heart. You know what? It just fucking breaks me sometimes. Where I come home and my husband tells me, you know, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fucking okay. Leave me the fuck alone, you know, kind of a deal.
But
No, these kids need love and compassion. And, you know, by seeing these protesters out there, you guys are making such a huge, huge difference. I mean, you've made such a huge difference, because they used to, Scientology, before you guys were on, they would come out of these buildings and they'd be walking around the buildings. They'd be grabbing people off the street, trying to convert them, I mean, all around the blue building, there was a buzz of people around Scientology buildings. There's no buzz around Scientology buildings with Scientologists any longer. And that's not because they decided one day, oh, don't go outside. It's because they don't want them talking to us. You know, in my live yesterday, like the guys on the security guys on the bicycles, I went up to them. I'm like, you guys, if you guys need to get out, we can help you. You know that I'm around here. Feel free to reach out to me. I was being very calm and just being very passionate for them. And you saw them. And one guy, I even took a snapshot of him. He even like gave me a thumbs up down below. You know, that he was like, he was listening to me. And it was like these little moments with these guys, because these kids are like, I mean, the one kid was like, I think I don't even know if he was 21, the last one I was talking to.
Mm-hmm.
The security guard?
Yeah, the last little one down at the end where you were sitting.
Let's see.
Yeah, I had to give him some grace at the end, because he was really pissing me off with this little smile because I got kicked out. And then I had to remember, or somebody in chat said, just say kind words to him. Then I had to remember, you know what? He's been brainwashed. I wasn't being mean.
No,
I'm
no,
never mean.
Becky, you have to remember this. You have to, and it's hard sometimes because we don't come from the world, okay? We weren't brainwashed like kids are. These kids are born. I mean, when Serge was down in Florida, and the number one thing, don't ever talk to the police. They're the enemy. Don't ever talk to the public. They're the enemy. If you're sick, you can't go to a doctor. You'll have to, you're pulling it in. You have to figure out why you're pulling in being sick. I mean, people have died in their hands. They have not been able to see doctors. I mean, this organization has brainwashed them and gaslit them into a belief of a system of saving the world. And you know what? They're not saving the world for you, me, or Poe, or anybody else but themselves, they think. You know, and so these kids don't know any different. They don't know any different than waking up and going out there and taking out the trash. I mean, Laura was what, 4 years old when she signed her billion-year contract?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
you know,
I'm not gonna
also
lie.
why
I told you guys, don't put me on a pedestal because I will fuck up. I had to remember that he had been brainwashed. Again, I wasn't. I would think I was more angry that the cops were there with him and that he was laughing and I'm like, wait a minute. I thought you guys never spoke to cops. Exactly.
But see,
I
you're
thought you
proving
guys never spoke to
you
cops.
can learn and that you can change also. And that's why I say when we're dealing with these folks that are the org members or the staffers or whatever, we have to remember that if these folks decide that they want to leave, who are they going to come to? And they need to know that the people they're going to come to are going to be the people that are going to be respectful and are going to help them. And I think that's very important. And Becky, I know you got it. We all get angry at some point and we all lose it sometimes. That happens. It's just human
Well, I
nature.
just have to remember the harm reduction and it's meet them where they're at. And, again, I was so angry that he was talking to the cops, laughing at it, that they kicked me out of there. And I felt like, oh, you little asshole. But then again, someone in chat mentioned, be kind to them. And so I just started, we'll feed you, we'll home you, SBTV. And yeah, I mean, I'm 54 years old, and I'm gonna tell you something. If you're the smartest one in the room, you're fogged because that means you're not learning.
I think on your level with the harm reduction, thinking about it as if you're dealing with someone who has an addiction.
Yeah.
And their goal is to continue that addiction. How do you help them? You show them with love, with compassion, with empathy. And that's how I view it personally. Everybody has their own right to view it the way they want. But if I'm someone who's in an organization like that, and I've got people coming at me and yelling and screaming, I may be thinking at the moment before I meet them, this may be my last day, I'm done with this, then suddenly I've got these people who are treating me that way. All it's going to make me do is resolve my belief in that organization. It's like a teenager who says, I'm in love with this person, and the parents go, you can never see them again. What do? They double down on how they feel about that person. And that's the way I look at those things. As I want those people to realize that, yes, I don't like Scientology, but I care about you. And I want you to understand I'm here if you're ready to leave. And that's the way I look at it. And
That is
I did have to pull back. I will admit I did have to pull back. And again, the anger I think was more directed to the cops than anything else. He just happened to get caught in the crossfire.
Okay.
And again, we can learn. It angers us so much what they do to the protesters sometimes that we forget.
Right.
I did.
Why we're
I was
there.
there. We were in North Hollywood when I first started protesting a while back. We were in North Hollywood at one of their events, and like I said, we're all guilty of it. And it's like I saw this lady with 3 young boys, probably 11, 8, and 4, coming out of this event at midnight. And meanwhile, in the event, someone snuck a picture over the fence and saw that they had a bouncy house for the kids, and so I sat there and I'm like screaming at the lady with the kids. And all of a sudden someone in my chat, thank you very much, whoever that was, said to me, Michael, don't scream because the kids are frightened. You can frighten the kids by screaming. And that's where I learned, like, wait a second, I shouldn't be screaming. I don't want to be screaming. I don't want to scare these kids. I want them to know that it's safe out here. I don't want them to feel like, oh my God, because we're born with our natural instinct to go back to what we think works. Even if it doesn't really work in our life, our instinct is to always go back to what works when we think something else is not working. So we've got to remember, we've got to break that gap for them. And that's a big gap to break, because we're not just dealing with the natural human experience of going back to what we know what works, our own experiences, but we're also breaking the gap of all that brainwashing that they've gone through.
Absolutely.
And if they're like Serge, if they're like Laura,
So hard to remember.
Yeah. And if they're like Serge or Laura or Jen and all these kids that were born in there, that's a big fucking gap to try to get them through.
Yeah, and I try to look at it when I'm dealing with them from the standpoint of the physician's motto, do no harm. I want them to realize that there is a safe space. Scientology, all bets are off, but for the members and giving them an outlet, I want them to know that, we're here. I'm not the best person. I'm not perfect, but at least I'm willing to try. I'm willing to listen, and I'm willing to try to help you. And that's my goal in it. And the more people we can get to drop away from that, that's the less staff, the less org that they have to continue running this evil cult.
So let me ask you a question. So who can we get angry at? Because Scientology obviously has some evil people. Who can we get angry at? Because everybody might say they're a victim, and yet, they're victimizing people. So who can we get angry at?
But you have to go ahead, Michael. Go ahead.
You sure you want to go first, Poe?
Well, the way I'm looking at it, you got to remember, it's just like I was talking about earlier, it's someone who has an addiction. The control isn't theirs. The control is the organization. That organization has become their narcotic that they're feeding off of. And it gets to a point where they hate it, but they can't leave it because they're so dependent on it. That's the way I look at the folks who are the org members and the staffers, is that we got to remember, they're the puppets, and then you have the puppet masters. It's the people who are in the upper levels.
That's what I want to know. Where can I channel my anger? Because obviously there's parents in there that are stupid enough to believe that having their kids confessed, audited, or whatever the hell you want to call it is right.
But look at how many people who have been victims of, I'll give you an example, the Catholic Church we were talking about and the things that went on with that. Look at how many people, even knowing that, still support the priests that were involved with it. It's a matter of mindset. It's a matter of how they're thinking, and you get yourself so clouded and diluted into what's going on, and people just don't realize, sometimes the truth is right in front of your face. It's just you can't see it through all the smoke that's being passed between it. And we have to remember that the people who are the org members, the staffers, the actual citizen members, they're all being lied to. This is a cult, and the whole point of it is mind control and making them do what they want. That's what it's all based on. And it's the higher ups, and it's the organization itself. The organization of Scientology is the monster that our anger goes towards.
Well, and Becky, I want to say this. You asked, who can you direct your anger towards? Okay. I want to invite you to look at the possibility of when you see that anger, you feel that anger, take that anger and put it in to you being an advocate. Take that energy and put it into you being an advocate, because the anger is not going to get you anywhere if you're out there screaming like a mad woman or a madman or whoever's out there screaming. It's not it that it just makes it doesn't, it's not the message we want to give. You want to be there you go. Yeah, you want to take that. I invite you to look at the possibility is like, if you see anger in your life, right? Why you're angry, right? I'm mad at these motherfuckers because of A, B, and C. Well, then write a list, say, well, what do you want instead? Well, I want the children out. How can I put this into, let me put my energy over here. Quit focusing on these idiots over here and focus on putting your energy over here and getting the kids out.
Right.
Take that anger and put it into that moment.
That's an excellent point. Think about it this way.
I like that. And again, it's
Think about it this way, Becky. Would you want those children seeing you angry and yelling and screaming and possibly making them afraid of you? Or do you want them to see you as, like I was talking about, that mother or abuela kind of person that they could run to for the safety?
Well, I will be telling you guys this normally, and I think you guys seen many of my lives and many of the times where I've been out there. That is something that I normally don't do. If I'm screaming, it's usually at a damn cop that was a damn idiot.
Right.
Yesterday, I think, like I said, yesterday I was angry. I don't remember saying anything that was offensive other than, really? You're laughing because we got kicked out? Really? I mean, if you guys look at my life, however, that doesn't mean that in my brain, I'm not thinking, and eventually what you're thinking becomes your words. So, thank you, Michael, for that. There are times where we need to remember why we're out there. And yesterday was just one of those days where I was like, "Ooh, you little ass." And I'm not gonna lie, you guys. You again.
Bad
This
day,
is who
Becky.
I am. And
I have to tell you,
You're-
to tell you, Becky, that I am notorious for turning that anger from going from Harvard to Harlem in 2.2 seconds.
Yeah.
But I have to reconnect my brain and use it as an education tool for whatever I'm dealing with. One, you need to get yourself out of the situation you're in. Two, you need to get somebody else out of a situation they're in. And fear and anger only really makes it worse. And so you have to kind of use that anger as an impetus and as a fuel to educate or to get out of wherever you're at. I guess that helps me, is being able to say, okay, stop. Now I need to use this fuel. I need to use that anger to turn things around, either to overcome the situation, overcome the people, outsmart them, out strategize them, and use it. Use it as a weapon.
I will take your guys's. I mean, I think when my anger comes out like that is usually because I've been in that situation. I have been that child.
I was just going to say that, Becky. When you feel that anger, take a breath, take a look at yourself, and feel where that's coming from, because it's likely a trigger from your childhood, from your teenage years, from a marriage, from wherever it is. It's a trigger, and it seems similar, but it's really not similar. It's just something that triggered you in that situation, that all of a sudden this anger, and then the moment you feel that anger, say, oh my God, I'm really upset. And if you can spot what that anger is about, write it. I do this all the time. I teach a class on this, where write it down. Say, what's not working about this anger for me right now? What is this reminding me of? This reminds me of the time when, for me, I would say, this reminds me, like you touched it, Poe. This reminds me of the time that I went to catechism school, and Priest John kept calling me into his office and playing with me. That's what it reminds me of. Well, what do I do? What do I want to? I don't want to put myself in that position, and I want to help others that are in that position to get out of that position. And instead of focusing on what's causing me the anger, I'm taking that anger and I'm putting it over here to help those people that are in that position right now. And I'm taking that energy, that anger of that energy, and putting it there because I want to help them, so they don't have to deal with what I did or have to go deeper into what they're going into right now. And that's why I'm here.
And you have to remember, we love you, Becky.
Yeah.
We love the
You know
you
what? I feel it. And it's not that. I don't feel attacked by anybody. I don't feel that my chat attacks me. We get trolls in there that I don't even really give a fuck. I always say, give a like, subscribe, and keep on commenting if you want. I think my anger comes from not having that voice and it being taken away from me.
Absolutely.
And that's where the anger comes from. It's like, how fucking dare you try to take away my voice again? How fucking dare you turn what I was doing in there and talking to the community about what they were selling, what they were doing, and that's where I know where the anger was coming from. And you know what? It once again, it comes down to you trying to take away my voice that was taken away so many years ago. And how fucking dare you, whether you be a man, woman, or child, how fucking dare you try, or a troll, how dare you try to take my voice away? That's where that anger was coming from, because I know that we were doing loving, beautiful stuff in there, showcasing their stuff. We weren't being harmful to them. We weren't being anything to Scientology. We weren't being a threat to them. Well, actually, no, I think we were a huge threat, because we were showing that we were loving on people. And that's where that anger came from.
That's a huge threat
and
to
that's
them.
where that anger came from. That's where the whole screaming, fuck you, Scientology came from. And it was, once again, whether it be, you are awesome, Weiss, and I love you. Oh, Sir Crepetas, you just don't know what you guys mean to me.
Well,
And I
I want you
always
to
try to
realize,
use
Becky,
my voice in a loving way when I'm out there.
right.
But yeah, that's where the anger was
I
coming
want
from.
you to
How fucking
realize,
dare you try to shut somebody's voice down?
every one of us here, we hear you, we see you, and we love you. All right. I want
I
you to
know it.
realize
Thank
that.
you.
How many times I have to tell you, I think you're an angel. All right. I think that your voice is very strong and very powerful and needed in this.
Thank
And
you.
we just don't want, we want you to be able to make your voice that much more powerful is what we want. And we know that you
I'll
can be
behave to my
Lord.
ability. That's the only thing I'm
And
gonna promise.
you don't have to behave. You just get to be yourself. It's just like, you remember the time that we came out to Pasadena just recently with you, and you got really triggered and you got really frustrated. Well, that's where you've got to take a deep breath, take a moment, back up, know that you've been triggered, okay? And draw a boundary. And what happened is, like, I didn't see a boundary drawn there, and you kept going back into that space that was angering you. Those people were fools. I saw it. They weren't going to give us a time of the day, you know. And you put your trust into someone. We put our trust into a lot of these people,
That's
and
what it was.
yeah,
That's
and
what it was.
and they don't come through for us. And you sat there and you're like, where the fuck's my trust that I'm supposed to be having with you right now? And you stayed there and you kept doing this and this. You saw me. I drew a boundary. I'm like, okay, we're moving on. Becky, we'll see you soon. And you stayed there. And I don't know how long you were in that
No, I
moment.
left right behind you.
Okay. But I'm just saying, take a moment, draw a boundary for yourself, understand your trigger. Don't let them have the best of you. That's a long time ago.
You know, I'm gonna tell you where that came from. I trusted him, and I really felt like I failed. That's why I went to Big Blue, because I figured, you know what? Um, I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna be just like, it failed. You know, not that anybody
You
was
didn't fail,
blaming
though.
me. I never
Failed, though.
sensed that from you guys. I never sensed that from you guys. But that's something that I took on upon myself to feel like I fucking failed. And, you know, after speaking about it, voicing it out loud, I didn't fail. That fucking idiot failed. And I understand that eventually, but at the moment, it just feels like, oh, you
It
asshole.
triggered you. It triggered you of a childhood memory that you thought you were doing your best and you're going to get your A's and you got everything in row, and all of a sudden they didn't even look at your report. You know, they
Yeah.
didn't give you a chance to even be able to talk about your report, and you felt like you failed because you weren't able to get your message across. You're dealing with a group of people that are compromised, that are complicit with Scientology, and they're going to give you anything they think that they're going to give you to be able to get you off their back. And they're like, okay, we'll take it. We'll listen. We've seen it. We've been here. We've seen it. So what you did is exactly great for yourself, because when you took that energy, you went over to the blue building and you're able to do something different there, and you're able to make a
Right.
difference there. So draw the
Michael,
boundary.
this is something that Poe and I had talked about the other night, was the fact what triggers a lot of us is that trust. You
Yeah.
really, really want to and expect to trust the authority figures. You really want to. That's the way we all grew up. That's what you really want in your soul. And then all of a sudden they smack you in the face when their trust is not there. They
Yeah.
rip it right off from you. There's no trust. And all of a
Yeah,
sudden you're like, what the hell just happened? I just got my face smacked, literally. I mean, almost literally.
that's how it felt.
That
It was a
trust
slap
just
in the
gets
face.
ripped right off from you.
It was a slap in the face, and again, you know, eventually I understood that it wasn't me who failed. But at the moment, at that time, when I saw Serge and Michael just walk away, and I understand those were your boundaries, but at that point in time, I just, you know, I gave up my Sunday with my husband. I gave
I
up a
know,
festival that
exactly.
I was supposed to go to. And it was like, you fucking assholes. That's how I felt right there at the spot. So I
Yeah.
figured, you know what? My Sunday is already shot. Let me go to Big Blue. And then that's when shit hit the fan. And now we're here with LAPD. And, you know, that was the day that Wendell Tyrone Manning exposed himself. So again, we go back to all the stars align. I rather it happen to me, who always has a voice. You know, I might be kind of shut down from time to time, but I will always find a fucking hole somewhere and speak up on it. And now we're here learning about LAPD, what they're up to, what they did. It really, I still believe in good officers. I'm not gonna lie, I still believe in good officers. Now,
There's some good officers. I've seen some, there's a lot of young kids that I see coming out now that are new on the force, and they're good. But and you get this pose where it's like, and I saw this with my dad, it's like, you get into this, a clique, it's a clique, and all the officers are doing all this shady ass shit over here because this is just what they're doing. It's just part of their gimmick or whatever you want to call it, but they do this, and the new guy comes in, and the new guy has a choice. He could either like really try to be a law-abiding officer and be there to protect and to serve and all that, but all this mess over here is likely going to influence them, and they're going to feel like I either got to join them or I'm fucked. And unfortunately, most of them get that peer pressure and they join this corruption that's going on. And that's just one of those things that we've got to break down slowly. You know, it's just like it's hard. We're fighting not just one organization, we're fighting many organizations that are just truly gaslighting us, and they'll say anything to us to get us out of their way. But the bottom line is, you don't even have to listen to them half the time. You just have to remember what your mission is and why you're there, because just you being there without saying a word to anybody, just you being there in a quiet mindset, in a peaceful mindset in front of Scientology, you're stirring up shit.
And,
Thank you for that. I
it-
really needed to hear it today, because I'm gonna tell you, it's
yeah.
there are times where I feel that I go out there and it's like, why? It doesn't make a fucking difference. Why?
No, it makes a difference. Every
It
single
will.
person is different.
Thank
It will. We will make a
It
difference.
does.
This
It
is
does.
effective change.
It does. Every single person, every minute they're out there, every second out there, whatever they're doing, it's making a difference. I see it. I see it clearer than most people probably see it, because I've been watching this for many years now. And with the protesters, I've been here before the protesters were ever even around. And by seeing what the protesters have done, I am so proud of every single one of them. Yeah, some of them may have done something that maybe I don't agree with, but it doesn't matter. They're making a difference, and that's what we want to do. We're bringing awareness to the community one way or another. And our goal is just to continue with our have tenacity and continue to go forward and just baby step through this, because we are making a difference.
Absolutely. Like
And
I
in
said,
saying that, we need more Spanish speaking people out there that are willing to, again, even as Michael says, not say a word, but kind of support and educate our community, because they're targeting our community. They're targeting our community. They're going after our community. And again, I'm not talking color here. It can be anybody at this point. They feel that anybody that is in their weakened state, that's who they're targeting. So any other language, you guys come out. I don't care what you speak. Just come
well,
out and show your
look at
support as
it from the
well.
standpoint of they know that their organization is slowly dying away. Why do
That's
you
right.
think they suddenly became so involved with Nation of Islam? Why they're investing themselves into so many different groups and so many different communities to try to rebuild themselves? They've held themselves off in this secluded little pocket for so long, and it's only leading to their downfall. So now they're trying to do what they can to reach out. And it's just like with any other aspect of society. Anyone who's vulnerable to the cult, they're going to snatch up as quickly as they can. So they're just intensifying what they're doing. And the Latino community is now one of their big targets. And
And our elderly, because yesterday, I don't know if you guys saw the older couple. They came down from Reno. She was ex Scientology, and when she saw people coming out of there in their little scooters, in their little, and they were not all able bodied, she was so shocked. She says, "You would have never seen that
look
25 years
at
ago,
Ferris's
and now
dad
they're
in
snatching
the 70s digging
anybody."
ditches. All right. I mean, that's what's happening. Their community is aging, and it's not populating as quickly as they would hope it would. It's dying out, and it's literally fading away. So they're trying to grasp at anything that they can. And they're going to find people. I mean, you have doctors, you have lawyers, you have prominent people who've been sucked into this. Everybody can become vulnerable to it. They just have to find the right key to open the door for you. And that's
Well,
what
they
they're
almost
doing.
got my cousin back in the 80s. And my
Mhm,
cousin was hanging by a thread. I think I've told you this.
mhm.
And the person that she was working with, her employer, the daughter was in Scientology and bought her the book. And You know, she's Spanish speaking. And when I was telling her just last week, because she came down to visit mom from Georgia, when she was down here, I was talking to her about it. I said, "Do you remember that Dianetic books?" And she's all like, "Oh, yeah." She mentioned to me that she had she had gotten gifted this book, and the girl who gifted it to her had like this altar with incense, and now my cousin didn't know at the time what it was, but that she was chanting, and she said something like L. Ron, hi L. Ron, and I said L. Ron Hubbard, and she said yes, that's what they were chanting, and then the door slammed, so that kind of spooked her. And then my mother just kind of pulled it from under her and told her, You know what? Either you get rid of that book, or it's us or that book." And so that just solidified that the book wasn't the best for her, and she didn't go in. But let me tell you, she made us go to Hollywood to the recruiting center. And we stood there for a good 20 minutes telling her, "Oh, fuck no, don't go in there. What the hell do they need to know about your personality? That's crazy." And so we got her away from there that one time. But yeah, they were targeting Latinos even back then.
Yeah, that's. I mean, they take any opportunity they can. So, but we are at over 2 hours and 35 minutes here, folks, and like I said, I had that long drive after a long weekend here. Michael, so thank you so very much.
Thank you, Michael.
You are absolutely
Thank you for
awesome
asking me.
every time I talk
Sorry
to
for
you.
keeping you extra, Poe. We're sorry, but
Oh, you're all right.
yeah,
No, I've been enjoying this very much. But as I say, Michael, thank you so much. Every time I talk to you, I feel like I come away smarter than before. And
Yeah.
also, you are that calming voice I think we need, because all of us sometimes we just lose who we are and what we're supposed to do, and we need that calming. And I think that you are that calming voice that we need. And I thank you so much for what you've done. I can't say it enough. Just thank you so much. And Mona, you are, your insight, the way that you're willing to dig into this and find these things out,
Mhm.
you are a true asset that is on the other end of the whole spectrum there. You are finding things out that most of us have never even heard about. And it's amazing what you're doing. Becky, your fire, your passion, your love, your commitment to community make each and every one of us love you so much. And
agreed.
Thank you.
so
Thank
happy to
you.
have you here. And I want to say it again. We see you, we hear you, we accept you, we love you, and we
Thank
want
you.
you to just continue to be Becky. You are very important to us and we love you. And
Thank you
folks,
for
thank
that.
you so much for being here with us tonight. I hope you take away as much from this conversation as I have and we have. We got to do another one like this. This has been such a fountain of gold for all of us.
Mhm.
Michael, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
I like to share this with a lot of people that, if that you haven't heard me share this before, this is something that I work with students with all the time, is that in our life, we have a physical body.
Mm-hmm.
We have a spiritual body, whatever that might be, whatever higher power it is or whatever it is. But your spiritual body and your higher power, whatever it is, those two, Becky, look, Becky,
I'm listening.
I want you to look. Those two need to be in alignment. Okay? Because if your spiritual body's here and your physical body's here and you got this and this going on, you're not in alignment. And we want to bring you into alignment, because when you're in alignment, then you're doing this and you follow your heart and you're going to follow your journey. What the universe is going to bring to you, it's going to bring to you exactly what you're supposed to do. It's when you're out of alignment, you want to look and see why you're out of alignment. Make a note, look at it. Why am I out of alignment? I don't like this. What do I want instead? Make another note. Write what you want instead. Focus on this. Quit focusing on what you don't want, because if you focus on what you don't want, you're going to get what you don't want. And that's what these kids are that's what's happening with all these kids that are in Scientology right now. They're focusing on what they've been taught, and they don't know that they don't want it, but that's all they know. They don't know to focus on something yet. So our message here is to get them into alignment and allow them to see something that they might want to be attracted to get them out. So our whole mission here is to help everybody find their alignment so we can all find the path to the happy way out of this. Okay. So Poe, I appreciate you having your show.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. It's been nice to see you come on board with SPV TV and just everything that you're doing. Mona, you and I, you know what we're doing in the background. I appreciate you. I love you. You know that. Becky,
Love
I'm just
you
getting
too,
to know you.
darling.
Yeah, love you. Becky, I'm just getting to know you and seeing your passion. Really, you've got that, you know, that harm reduction side of you. Focus on that, make that your alignment and bring that awareness to the protest because that's why you're here. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, keep it up. Don't get me wrong. We're still
Oh, I know.
going out there and we're still preaching harm reduction. I just have to remember, like you said, be in alignment. And I'm not too old to learn. Shit, I am. Shush, I am not
You've
too
already
old to
proven
learn.
it. You're learning every day. You already know you can do it.
We all
So,
are learning every day.
absolutely.
Well, thank
And
you.
like
Thank you
saying,
for
Michael,
asking me on.
oh yeah, absolutely. It's our honor. You know, like you were saying earlier about, you know, how police officers, when they first start out, people don't realize the emotional and the cliquish kind of beatings that I took because I chose to do what was right and what I had sworn in as a police officer to do. Literally 4 or 5 months on the job, grabbing a senior officer who had 5 years more on the job than me, grabbing him and pushing him away from someone I was arresting and telling him, don't you ever put your hands on someone that I'm arresting. All right. That you got to have that fight in you. And I took a lot of beatings, not physically, metaphorically,
Yeah.
in the job as a police officer because I refused to back down from my ethics and my morals.
Yeah.
Like I said, I swore in to be someone who does no harm, to be someone that protects and serves. And I've taken that very seriously my entire life. And it's so easy for these young officers to get sucked into these old guys are going out and they're doing this, and I want to be part of the group and I want to be liked. Being popular doesn't isn't a career choice. All right. Doing your job, being that police officer you're supposed to be, that's the career choice you make. And it's not just a career choice, it's a life choice.
Yeah.
You have to decide you're going to be that person. And
Mhm.
folks, like I said earlier, I hope that each and every one of you have tonight I've learned so much both personally and in the fight against Scientology. And I I am so thankful to have such a good group to be part of. And I hope that you all see that and see the actual value of these kinds of conversations and the people that are having the conversations. And as always, life is short. You get one shot. Make it count.